welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite. This has been a massive week for Xbox. Finally we are here. Finally, we're at the point where ABK closes. We get to see what happens as a result, what games are getting Game Pass. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to dissect. But before we do that, I'm going to welcome the guest of the show, long-time returning guest, one of our first guests that we ever had, Red Dead Panda. Welcome back. How you been? How's your week been? What have you been playing?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here. Thank you, and hello to everyone in the panel and chat. I am really good. I've been playing Halo with Pete, as per usual. You know, that's like a go-to. Playing some Redfall, finished Cocoon. Yeah, that's kind of where I've been at with the games. That's what I've been up to. I've been really busy with work, so I can't spend ages on Starfield or else. I've still got to finish that game. It's massive. But I've been trying to find palette cleansers just because if I don't, I'm going to miss it out on every other game that's releasing on Game Pass at the moment because I've already sunk 5 days into that game and I could easily sink another 5 days into that game without a second thought. So I just don't want to be left behind and my backlog keep getting bigger because that game's massive. But that's what I've been up to. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Cocoon is a great game. I highly recommend that game. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I had to help Blue through it, but I got it through in the end. Rhetri, another fantastic week in gaming, one of the best weeks in gaming for an Xbox gamer. First time on the show. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here, man. Let people know what you've been playing, what you've been up to. How's your week going?
Week's going good, man. I've been playing Forza Motorsport, which is something I didn't think I would do because I'm not a sim guy. I actually am really bad at the game, like kissing the guardrails every 5 seconds. But I'm trying to get better at the game. I think it's really good. Actually, it might be the first sim motorsport that actually gets me in to these types of games because I like Horizon. Like that's more or less my type of speed and style because I'm just not good at racers. But I also played Cocoon 2. I love that game. I had a feeling it was going to be good because it was from the game designer from Inside and Limbo. Big fan of his. So finished that. That game was not easy for me. Puzzles I'm not great at either, but got through it. So, 1,000 on that one. And Gotham Knights I'm playing as well. I don't understand the hate behind Gotham Knights. Playing it obviously on Game Pass. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I get the 30 FPS, gripes and all that shit, but I'm having a great time with it. And I play COD as well because I just bought the latest pass thing or whatever because I saw there was a scary looking Groot dude and I kind of wanted it. So that's what I've been playing. I've been playing a whole plethora of all kinds of different games, but Game Pass has been killing it for me. So I've been kind of busy trying to do like what Panda said and messing with the back catalog. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, man.
Awesome, man. Awesome to have you on the show. There's a lot there. The reason that there's a lot of hate for Gotham Knights is because the game's trash. Absolute trash.
Well, agree to disagree. Just like your cookies are biscuits and your biscuits are cookies, but that's all good.
Oh, there's only one type of biscuit. We don't have that weird like flour donut that you guys have as biscuits. It's strange. Infinite Umbra. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for so long, and finally, welcome back. How's your week been?
Here we gonna rock. Here we gonna roll. Happy ABK Day, everybody. Week has been all right. Had a funeral to attend earlier for my aunt, but other than that,
sorry, man.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you, guys. I mean, other than that said event, I did have my niece born recently, so it's kind of poetic in a way where we lose somebody and gain at the same time. But as far as what I have been doing, I don't want to sour today. I have actually been really happy that the news, the ABK, is fully acquired now, or about to be fully acquired, is happening, and we'll be getting these games into Game Pass soon. It's a W for sure. As far as what I've been playing, I did play a bit of the Modern Warfare 3 beta with Holly, Pete, and Gray, and I did all right. Now, I don't care for the multiplayer in Call of Duty typically, but I enjoyed it. I actually did, literally. I was surprised too. And What else did I play? I played a bunch of other things, Forza 2, and I beat everybody, including running Gray and Pete off the road and winning. So that was fun.
Is that your that's your first COD multiplayer for a while, or?
It's been years.
What deserves?
Wow.
Decade plus.
Definitely deserves one of these then.
Yeah. I racked up about 28 kills too. I was happy with myself.
Yeah, once you're in, and you can't get out. JediKnightPeter, another fantastic week. What a huge week in gaming. I can't believe it happened once again. What have you been up to? How's your week been?
So happy that this is finally over. What the hell is going on with Australia? Still haven't closed the deal over here. I don't know what's going up with that, but we're not finished talking about it because now we can really start talking about it. All the games are going to jump into Game Pass. All the salt from the ponies. It's going to be beautiful. I've been playing so much. There's way too much to play. So I got a bit of COD beta with Umbra and Holly and Monad, played a little bit of Redfall after the patch, still loving AC Mirage, and I just dabbled into Lords of the Fallen. I don't want to start it up yet, even though I'm really, really looking forward to it. I want to finish AC Mirage off first. I'm trying to mainline the story, but as with all Ubisoft games, there's so much to do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then we got to talk about this Lords of the Fallen business as well, which I didn't have in the topics, but that's going to be an interesting one. I haven't had a chance to boot it up, and I won't boot it up until they fix it. Apparently, there's a patch that came out just before the show as well. But Holly, what a fantastic week, man. This has just been such a long time coming, and I cannot wait for... Sorry, I'm probably overusing this, but I'm excited. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things? Blue?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm here.
You were this
Hello.
close to me having me do your Holly voice. This close.
Oh, well, I'm excited and scared to hear what that's like all at the same time.
It sounds the same, exactly the same as every other female voice he attempts. So,
Just about.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute.
I've heard that one.
Nick's in the chat, and I just want to say Collingwood stole that grand final, and I'm just going to leave it there. We can have that discussion later.
What's up, Nick? What's up, brother?
Blue, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Yeah. I gotta say hello to Panda and Rhetri. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
always.
Umbra, welcome to the superior multiplayer game. And
yeah. Yeah.
And as a reminder, that other one called Halo, J-Rock's having a Halo community game night tomorrow. So if you like that one, I guess you could play it, but I'll be on COD. So I've been playing the COD beta and played Redfall, with the new patch, and been hopping around, and I beat Cocoon way before Riskit ever beat it, so all of his filthy lies are just that.
It's not true.
It's true. It's very true.
He's just mad. That's it.
It's not true.
But it's been a good week. It's been fun.
Absolute lies.
Holly wrote the walkthrough for it that you followed along with Riskit.
I think I started it after Holly.
He wouldn't let me
I
write it.
Finished it like a week before Holly, and I know it caused some
emotional damage.
But she's gonna get over it, I'm sure.
It's not true. He wouldn't let me write it down so that there was no evidence that he needed it. It's all right. I just had to tell him.
Well, look, we're going to jump into the topics, and obviously the first one straight off the rack is going to be Microsoft completing the deal. First, the CMA passed the deal, but there was some jabs thrown after the fact by the CMA, and I do just want to read out what the CMA said. It said, as cloud gaming grows, this intervention will ensure people get more competitive prices, better services, and more choice. No shit. Businesses and their advisors should be in no doubt that the tactics employed by Microsoft are no way to engage with the CMA. Microsoft had the chance to restructure during our initial investigation, but instead continued to insist on a package of measures that we told them simply wouldn't work. That is not what we've heard from the CMA or what was going on with the CMA. What we heard is they wouldn't even engage with Microsoft and with the FTC as well also would not even engage with Microsoft. So that's just a heap of posturing there from the CMA, and that's just the one tiny little bit of negative news that I sort of wanted to throw in there about this. The CMA is still posturing as they've sort of pushed Microsoft back and held the line, so to speak. But this is amazing. There was times we didn't think it was going to go through. There was times that like it looked like it was a sure thing, and then it was completely pulled back, and then there was just times we got sick of talking about it. This has been an absolute emotional roller coaster, but we're here, finally here, and I just want to give you guys a quick list of the IPs that could be reborn, remade. We got Blur, Caesar, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, DJ Hero, Empire Earth, Gabriel Knights, Geometry Wars, Guitar Hero. Got some news about that too. Gun, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, Hexen. Saw Phil wearing that Hexen shirt down at the FanFest. Interstate 76, King's Quest, Lorabo Mysteries, The Lost Vikings, Overwatch, Phantasmagoria, Pitfall, Police Quest, Prototype. Oh my God. Quest for Glory, Singularity. That was a great game. Skylanders, Soldier of Fortune, Space Quest, Spyro the Dragon. Terrible game. StarCraft. Oh my God, I can't wait for that to come back. Tenshu, the legacy games. We don't get the new ones, unfortunately. The IP's been passed on to someone else. Time Shift, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, True Crime, World of Warcraft. Could it come to Xbox? And Zork. This is absolutely amazing. I guess the conversation can just explode from here. But my thing is, what do we think's coming to Game Pass first? What is the first move that Microsoft makes? Where do we think they go from here? Is it COD? Is it a Spyro remake? Is it a Prototype remake? Do we get World of Warcraft coming to Xbox in, I don't know, June of 2024? What happens next, Umbra? I'm going to go to you first. I'm going to come down the panel through everyone. What happens next? Where do we go from here?
You know, there's so many things. Like, it's crazy the potential that all of this has, right? And I feel like the first things first is they're going to lock down the things that's making them the most money. I think that makes the most sense. So the Call of Duty, of course, they're going to figure out how they want to do that. Now, remember, there was rumor about the whole biannual thing release. I wonder if they're going to go back to that or not. And I only say that because if they do, that would possibly free up some of the support studios, the Ravens and the, and the Treyarchs or whomever, to work on something else. So I'm interested in seeing how they the Toys for Bobs, et cetera, et cetera. I think they'll go through their IP list and say what is the most vital that will hit Game Pass. Stuff like Crash. Look at this. Okay, thank you, police. Stuff like Crash,
and they kick in at literally every show. They kick in your door. Like they know the time. They know the time.
It's our Hood brothers. They like, I'm tired of you celebrating. No, but yeah, they got the Crashes. We have the Spyros. I mean, we got the Tony Hawks. There's so many ways they can do it. What I would say is that they'll go through the IP list, and I think go through what could make the most money for them and what would be the most viable for Game Pass. And there's so much there. As far as Tenshu, for instance, that's one of the ones I would love them to work on. Now, like you said, it's legacy, but they can do remakes of those. They can do remasters if they wanted to. So there's ways about going about doing it. We had also, if you watch that trailer they put out after the news went through, they showed what was it? Sekiro twice in that trailer. So I'm wondering. I know that they only published it, Activision, but I'm wondering how that works as far as them having the rights to put it into Game Pass. So I'm almost sure that Sekiro will appear in Game Pass because I don't see any reason why they would show it otherwise.
A lot of arguments about that online today, man. About Sekiro. Ooh, they did not like that very much. They didn't like it at all. Why would you show it? Why would you show it?
Exactly. The reason they got upset, of course, is because they hate the idea that From Software could be going to Xbox in some way. Something that From Software made a game of the year at that, by the way, with Sekiro. So yeah, it's a lot of that. But I think what they'll do is evaluate what they have as far as IP, going from the ones that's going to make the most money. Possibly break down what they're going to do with their mobile division, because now that they have King, I'm sure they're going to open up their own mobile store to compete with Apple and Google. So I'm pretty sure that's about to happen. And then they have Warzone, as we know. which is mobile, and they have King, which does the Candy Crush. So they're going to go into that, I think, too. So we're probably going to see more mobile games come out of this than anything else, I would imagine. So things like that, and like I said, they'll evaluate some of the IP they have. What I'm hoping that happens is not only that they do that and do like remasters for Tenchu or whatever, remakes or whatever you want to call it, but also allow these teams, the helper studios and such, to branch out and to create new IP, be they AA or AAA, whatever budget they might allow them to have, to see what they can make. That's what I'm hoping happens, because that's a ton of talent right there, in my opinion, to let linger and waste in just creating Call of Duty games. So also too, as far as the games that's going to hit, Phil and team, they've already kind of addressed it, saying that in the coming months. So I guess we shouldn't be expecting games to launch into Game Pass anytime soon, unfortunately. Maybe in the next month or two. So there is that. But when Call of Duty does hit, it's pretty obvious it won't be the more modern ones, at least. And maybe 2019's version, I can see that maybe hitting, but it won't be anything beyond that. And obviously, I think that's because of the contracting issues they have with Sony. So this will be the last game I believe, under the contract, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct on that, guys? Guys, hello.
The one that's coming out, now in November. I don't know. Yeah,
I believe Modern Warfare 3 is the last one on the contract. I believe so.
That's what I thought too, but now I'm hearing it's next year's too. So I don't frickin' know anymore.
They have through 24, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm hearing it's 24 as well. So
I was muted.
One more.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, they might have one more.
Yeah. So I think outside of that, that's really why they won't be hitting as exactly day and date. But also, you heard me kind of speculate, saying that I think Microsoft prefers it that way anyway, because it's a ton of cash right there that they'll be losing out on by putting it straight to Game Pass anyway, where they can probably bank a good billion or so if they just sell it first.
Take that good Sony money.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They're still going to get
which is just going to help us. You know what I mean? So they can get weird with it and make other games. Bring back some of these IPs that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sony.
Thank you, Sony ponies. I mean, our brothers. But yeah, so they left me hanging, Jax. Thank you. But
I was muted and I was like, don't stop talking now, because I had the trailer playing, and then if I pull up my controls, it'll go over the screen, and I was like, don't stop talking. I'm like, damn it, he stopped talking.
No, that's cool. But I mean, like I said, I think it's just so much potential for what can be made. I'm just excited for that. I mean, we heard already that Blizzard, for instance, is making the Odyssey game, which is that survival kind of fantasy game. Mm-hmm. So we're already seeing some stuff come out of that. You got StarCraft. So there's a lot of stuff they can do with that. I heard somebody actually, I was watching Boom Show, and they gave a suggestion of what if about the Coalition making a StarCraft game, a third person over the shoulder and Gears of War style with those
Coalition.
No. Yeah.
I don't like that idea.
No,
you wouldn't want them doing that.
No, I'm not down with that either. No. Definitely not. I want the Coalition making something they want to make. I want them making a new IP or a Gears game. Either.
Apps. Yeah. Give me a new IP from Coalition personally. Something in the horror genre. But yeah, that just doesn't feel like their bag of tricks. Like I don't know. I feel like there's other studios that would probably be better in that sort of realm. But that's just me.
You're talking about, now, to be clear, you guys are talking about with the soldiers, right? I'm not talking about like StarCraft Ghost, for instance, not like that, or not the what you call it, strategy style. I'm talking about having it with those soldiers. I can't remember their names, but the StarCraft soldiers, and put them in a third person, kind of like
okay, that's different, because that's all right. I see what you're saying now. I thought I was thinking something different. Okay.
Yeah,
I can sign off.
Warhammer, like a Warhammer 40K,
right?
Space Marine, like a Space Marine-ish.
Space Marine too, yeah, something like that.
Something in that.
Okay, I'm okay with that, because that feels way more. I mean, that's not too much of a leap from Gears. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly.
It feels way more familiar. But I'm okay with that. But I would like a new IP then.
You give me a new IP. Yeah, I don't want them touching anything else.
I'm with you.
But new IP or or another Gears game. If it's Gears and it ties off the series and they murder everyone in the Diaz family, that'd be great. But yeah, I don't want to see him. I want to see a proper RTS StarCraft. I want to go back to the roots. I want to see them do a Warcraft RTS. I want to see that go back to their roots. But what to your point about what you're saying, and I'll flick down to Pete after this, is when it comes to studios and talent and IP and even just support studios, I think it's a roundabout. They just picked up 17 different studios, one of them being a mocap studio. Not only that, they've also picked up Call of Duty League, Overwatch League as well, right? That's esports they've got now. Their finger in.
Point.
MLG, yeah.
Yeah, so there's that too. They just picked up an absolute beast. Pete, I'm going to go to you. What do we see happen now? What's Microsoft's next steps? They were pretty quick with the trailer. Came out with the trailer. They had some notable games in that trailer. Where do we go? What do we see?
I think they're going to focus heavily on mobile. I think they're going to bring Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Hearthstone, all these games that are making a hell of a lot of money. And honestly, like what Activision, has got, their diamond in the rough that no one really talks about because, look, let's face it, I think a lot of this deal had to do with Microsoft getting into mobile. They've tried to get into that, for a while now, haven't been able to do it. So they just bought their way in. And I know it's not what everyone wants to hear. Everyone talks about the COD and the Guitar Heroes and the Tony Hawks, but that's my personal opinion. And I think it's a really, really good play. I mean, the more money they make on mobile, the more money we get in games for us. With the Call of Duty thing, I don't know how they're going to play it. I don't know how they're going to do it. What do? Do you put all those Call of Duty games into Game Pass? And is it just going to be the campaign? I mean, you can't put all those... the amount of servers that you would have to put the old Call of Duty games back in there and all running multiplayer, I just think is a bridge too far. But,
what they could
I'd
do,
like
Pete,
to get
right?
the opinion on that.
They could make a MCC style thing with Call of Duties for the
that would be
multiplayer.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I think Battlefield did it pretty good. Well, they were meant to do it pretty good, where they had like different types of Battlefield multiplayer games all on the one game with 2042. Now, I didn't play it very much, but I think it's a really, really good idea. I think Bobby Kotick got on the the Gordon show, the late night show, and spoke about Guitar Hero. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to that game coming back, so that's really, really cool. What do I want? I want a prototype game. I would love another prototype game. I think that game is criminally underrated. And I think something like Blur would be really cool to come back as well. Like, I love that game. So that's what I'm interested in. Anyone else?
What do you think happens first? I was bloody muted again because my dog is out the back barking at a chicken.
I heard a dog barking.
He's barking at a chicken. But what comes first, Pete? What do they do first? What's the first thing they do? Come on.
Mobile. I think they're going to focus heavily on mobile. They're going to bring Candy Crush and they're going to bring Game Pass mobile app to, and that's what they're going to heavily focus on. And so in that Game Pass mobile, there's going to be Call of Duty, there's going to be Hearthstone, there's going to be Candy Crush and whatever other IPs they have in there. And I think that's going to be their mainline focus.
Look, sorry. Boo. Everyone put a tomato in the chat.
Not a sexy answer.
Not at all. I have an idea of what I think's going to happen straight off the bat. But I'm definitely going to throw it in last. I'm pretty sure that Panda, you might have an idea. What do you think's going to happen? What's the first thing we get? What's the first thing? What's the roadmap going forward? How do you see this landing? God help me, don't say mobile.
First thing that they're going to do is release a line of tissues for the PlayStation community. First thing they're going to do.
Love it.
I really think that we're going to start seeing COD come in, but I think we're going to be waiting till 2024. I think Diablo's going to go into Game Pass, and I think they're going to wait for the sales for Christmas and such, because So they're going to wait till after that and then start putting the titles into there. I think you're probably going to start seeing more of the older titles, or maybe over the next coming months of COD slowly start being put into Game Pass, and then moving into more of the newer titles to begin with that, because they fixed all the server issues, so people were back up and playing some older COD games that they weren't able to play before. I would really love some Blizzard stuff. I would love WoW to be on console. I would really love World of Warcraft RTS game again. That's how I grew up playing Warcraft. I played Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, and I like that style of that game for that. But yeah, I think there's so much that they could do in this space. I do agree with Pete around them going to be doing a heavy focus on mobile. I think that's a big part of what that purchase was, because they need to kind of offset the duopoly of Apple and Google in that space. But I think for the most part, it's just going to be business as usual. I can't wait to see what really starts to happen once Bobby Kotick's out the door. I think that's going to be when we really start things firing on all cylinders, which is why I think some of those big titles aren't coming out until next year, because they need to get out with the old guard and put in the new and see what happens there. Yeah, I'm excited. There's so many possibilities now. And PlayStation lost another mascot. We now have
Crash.
Crash. Yeah, we got Crash. It's a sad day for them, and it's going to be interesting. I am just so glad to stop talking about the will they or won't they, or is the deal being approved or is it not being approved, and now we finally have confirmation 100%. And all the lovely toxic ponies out there really eating and drinking that copium and salt today, while they would rather talk about Xbox over Spider-Man coming.
Well, it's because they got nothing else to really I mean, look, you can only speak...
Their roadmap is pretty appalling.
Yeah, there's nothing to like
We were speaking about this yesterday, Panda.
Oh, you're right, Pete.
What was that, Pete?
We were speaking about this yesterday, Panda. So no one's even talking about Spider-Man. They're all complaining about how bad Starfield is, and yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? They've got a game coming out, and I mean, this is a problem with the PlayStation community, but I mean, I don't think we're ever going to let them hear the end of this one. So this is going to be going for a while. It's going to be beautiful.
They hate Xbox more than they love PlayStation. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly, Panda.
That's exactly how they behave. It's kind of pathetic to talk about. All they have is sales to talk about. All they do is talk about this, and I'm like, all you do is trash on Xbox. Like, no one.
Well, that's their last.
Enough.
That's their last foothold, right? That's the last bastion that they have.
The last hurrah.
The sales.
Oh, they have 4K 60 now on their cloud streaming, but obviously now they support cloud streaming.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
now it's cool.
No, actually,
now it's cool.
I was listening to Salty the other day, and they still really don't support cloud streaming. But I don't think they have a good understanding of how the industry works.
Another feather in their cap, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Rhetri, so what's coming first? Where does the roadmap take us? What do we get? Do we get a new IP straight off the bat? We heard a rumor from Jez that there was a new IP, a little game coming soon. Do we get MW3 in their first thing? What happens? Where do we go?
Definitely not MW3. I think I kind of agree with Red Dead. I think we're going to see a lot of the old CODs. I don't know if they go Peter brought up a good point with the servers going back, way back, right? You can only go, I think they're only going to go back so far. They already started opening them for, Black Ops 1 and 2. And I think there might've been some others. I don't remember. Those are the ones that I played. I think they're going to go back like X amount of years, right? For the COD games and for the servers, but I expect those to come out within 2 weeks, like in the next 2 weeks. Like I think for some of the older COD games, I think will come out. But stuff like I think like Diablo, I see like Diablo 4, I see being Q1 of next year. I kind of agree with Panda on that as well. Like it's kind of like this, let the sales, finish through in the year, let Christmas happen, let Black Friday happen. And I mean, we've already seen Diablo numbers are absolutely plummeted. They're plummeted because it's surrounded by juggernaut games right now. So I don't know. I think that one's coming sooner than later. Soon to me is like 5 months from now. I don't think that's a long time to wait for a game of that caliber. But I can see us getting the older Diablos, us getting maybe Prototype, like the old games. Some Singularity might be in there. Obviously, I think Tony Hawk, the Tony Hawks, even the remakes 1 and 2 are going to come into Game Pass. I don't think that's going to take that long. I think it's going to be maybe parsed out, maybe more than the last acquisition, because last time we got a dump of 20 games within 3 days. I don't know if that's going to quite happen this time around, but I absolutely expect to get a decent amount of these titles come out. And I'm ready to see, like, Peter was kind of clicking off of my list. Like, Blur for me is huge. I want to see an arcade game where I can shoot other cars. That game was super cool. Big Overwatch fans, that doesn't really matter. That now that's free to play. But Prototype for me, Prototype is probably the one that I want to see come back. I think Xbox needs a superhero, even if it's like an anti-superhero type of game. I don't care. I just want to see that come back. I want it remade, remastered, however the hell it's going to be. Singularity 2 is high on my list. But there's a lot of weird ones in here. Like, you got StarCraft, like that would be great. Like, we know the Eastern audience is all about StarCraft, and that would be great to see that come back.
Well, Phil's already,
and World of Warcraft,
Phil already spoke on that too. He already said he'd love to see that come back. So I'm hoping that that's put into development.
I think that's
today.
a given. Yeah. I think it's a given. It's just like how, we're all excited about what's coming, but it's like that's years from now. You know what I mean? It's going to be a hot minute before we see that. Just like World of Warcraft, I'm one of the people who believes it will come to console, but that's going to take a hot minute. Just like it did Age of Empires 4. It took them a while to be able to get those controls to work properly on a console. So I think it's going to take some time, but we got like Spyro the Dragon. There's a ton of those games. Like, there's just like the back catalog, True Crime. There's so many damn games. I don't remember Zork. I don't know what the hell that was, but I don't know. Sorry, did I just offend you because I didn't know what Zork was?
You better get with the times.
Oh, I better get with 1980 if you don't know the Zork. I think the new like hotness that comes out, I think it's gonna be a while. I don't know the game that Jez was referring to. Is he talking about the Odyssey one from Blizzard? Or are you talking about something else altogether? Okay.
I believe he was talking about Odyssey, but I don't know.
Yeah, if he's talking about Odyssey, that's probably, I don't know, maybe it's holiday 2024. I'm not really sure. But yeah. I think we're gonna get a crap ton of these games. I wouldn't be surprised, even if Tenchu is in there. If back compat obviously has to come back, right? It died. It has to come back for all these games to come back and get boost and whatnot, frame rate boost, which I absolutely see happening. But I don't know about like stuff like Hexen and stuff like that. But Guitar Hero, I mean, we talked about that on a podcast. I think that's a given. I think that's coming. It's years away, I'm sure, but that just screams a gas game. That just screams a moneymaker. Like, it would be very stupid for them not to jump all over Guitar Hero this day and age, because there's so many options to do. We talked on a podcast the other day about the different kind of business models they could use for that game. You could have like regional music where they're just selling you packs like in India, Germany, wherever, where, they might not want all the music that comes from the United States. They get their own separate packs. Like, the amount of money you can print off of that game is just insane.
No one wants music from the US. You guys have never really been good musicians, so
I can. Okay, well, agree to disagree, but it's fine.
Obviously some of the best music's come out of the US. We do okay as well, actually. The UK,
some of the best singers too, like myself.
I never heard you sing.
I mean, you can get independent artists. You never know. You could have Umbra could be singing to you.
That's right.
Well, that's cool. That's a good,
singing in your ear.
That's a good point. We actually have something over here in Australia with a radio station, Triple J, and they do Unearthed, where they will unearth a new artist that's maybe doing club scenes, and some of those artists,
dude, Unearthed the hardcore band.
No. Unearthed is like a segment, so they'll bring in bands.
Oh, I got excited. I thought you were talking about the band. Okay.
They play club. They might be playing clubs or pubs, or they might have put out a single, or there might be a YouTube. So, and Triple J will bring them on and give them some airtime. And a lot of these bands have blown up and become huge. So, I can't think of any bands off the top of my head. I used to be really into my music, but I would. I could look it up, but that'd be a great idea to like actually have a segment or
independent artists,
or
man.
a section like that where you're bringing in those indie artists and you can specifically pull things off, say a Microsoft Music Store, and then add that to Guitar Hero. It has like an attachment to it or whatever. You can just buy a particular song and bring that in. There's just so much they could do with that. You're absolutely right. They could definitely print money off that one. Does definitely have live service all over. I'm really sick of the live service stuff, but Zork is a text game. Thanks, Mark, in the chat. But Zork was a text game. It was like a dungeon crawler from 1977. So not surprised that.
Holy shit! Okay, that was before I was born. So there you go.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I missed that one. I missed that one. Yeah. I don't know if I really missed it. Doesn't sound. Maybe it's good. I don't know.
Not your cup of tea.
I don't know if they could bring back a text game these days. Like, what would you do? Make it ray traced text or?
Yeah.
Blue.
Ooh,
the whole. I do want to point out one more thing on the mobile side, and I agree with everyone. Like, it's clear they're going to push the mobile, but I think getting their storefront is going to be World War III for Microsoft. Because trust me, people have been trying that for over 10 years now, and Apple was really good. Even the people who've won, I think it was, I don't know if it was a Korean, someone got in and was able to make their own storefront, and Apple found a way to tax them almost the exact same percentage. They tax them up to 25%, and the tax is 30%. So they only really save 5%. So I don't know, like, it's going to be, you're going to have to really get the FTC and a lot of people involved, a lot of the regulators involved to step in to stop this duopoly that is going on with Google and Apple. And I'm just not sure it's going to happen anytime soon. But the games for mobile, yeah, that's going to be coming out of plenty, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I won't care about a single one of those.
Me either. Do not give a shit about those.
And it's to the point, and I definitely want to jump to Blue in like 2 seconds, but the point that we will get the money that comes, or console will get, or games will come from, and probably
that's a question mark. I think
in some part maybe, but generally what gets the money is what makes the money. So if console's doing well, it's making the money. Yeah, cool. But if mobile blows up, they'll start shifting funds to there, and then what could happen is in reverse. What could happen is we could start losing or getting less console games, and they could start really focusing on mobile games. There is also could be negative effects to this as well. Like, not massively, nothing that I think we'll see in the immediate future, but just something to be aware of. I don't want to bring down anyone's excitement because I'm pretty excited. Blue, where do we go from here? What games hit Game Pass first? What's next from Microsoft? Do we hear about a new IP? Do we hear about them changing the launcher on the Xbox? Like, where do we go? What are we doing? What's happening next for Xbox?
Yeah, I kind of agree with a couple of people who said mobile is really going to be the focus, because I'm pretty sure I heard that Microsoft is trying to launch a mobile store next year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I mean, this is perfect timing for that, right? With COD Mobile being in there, and I'm sure there's 184 different ways you can buy a microtransaction through that. And then I don't know, maybe they'll work on like a crash racer on your phone, or something like that, right? Guitar Hero is a given. I think we know now for sure that that's coming. And what would be cool, I liked your idea, what would actually be cool is if they could make a Guitar Hero game edition and make it all make it for the games that Microsoft owns, right? Like play the Doom music or play, right? Like that would be
That's
really
a good
cool.
idea.
100%. Some of the best musical scores out there we deserve to play.
Yeah, and they could be just as like a special cool thing that would only be on, be a Microsoft exclusive. That would be really cool.
Not to cut you off, but someone mentioned something the other day on our podcast was freaking genius. Actually, it was on Boom's podcast. And he said, what about design labs for the guitars? I was like, holy F. That's another moneymaker right there, you know?
Oh, yeah, because I don't know about, like, I didn't buy into Rock Band, but everybody else did. I bought the turntable for DJ Hero because I was all about that game. I love it. I still have it, actually. It's that lame. I got it on the Wii. But anyway, I don't know. COD is definitely not coming into Game Pass until probably a couple months before the new COD, but there was supposed to be no COD this year. And then Activision went, well, we need some money, so let's do it again, right? Let's make the DLC now the new game for this year. So they've tried, or they've been saying that they were going to pivot to maybe a bi-yearly schedule. So I think Phil is all for that. But I don't think they're going to go any longer than that on a COD. I just think that COD is too big and too powerful to let it go dormant for, 3, 4, 5 years in between. But 2 is probably good. And then just do some additional content in between.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that you guys sort of said there, and there's a bit you said there as well, Blue. There's a lot to unpack with this. So for me, where I think they go next is I think it's very, very likely I think Rhetri said this, it's very, very likely we're going to get a lot of the old CODs up into 2, all into Game Pass. I think that's their first step. The other thing that you mentioned is that the Bethesda game dump that pretty much dropped straight in there is I think the difference here is it's pretty rare we see an Activision Blizzard game within Game Pass, and so they probably don't have that pipeline set up, whereas Bethesda, I believe most of those games had at some time come through the Game Pass system, so it wouldn't have been too hard for them to just pipeline that straight in. So that's also interesting, but that's what I think we see first. I think we see COD. I'm not interested in what mobile does, but I'm sure they'll start moving towards mobile. I think that there'll be two parallel arms moving together. So I think mobile, will be sort of a separate sort of push. Just to correct one of my mistakes earlier on, it's not 17 studios. It's actually 30. I just went through and counted to make sure I had the right number. It's 30 development studios. Some of those, included are one studio in different locations, but individual location studios, 30 of them. Plus, they've got 3 more, a publishing studio, a mocap studio, and a Q&A studio. So there's actually 33. The amount of support that you can bring to bear on any one particular game after this acquisition is going to be massive. I have concerns, though. Definite concerns. But I won't go too far into those. I'll just there's a couple of things I want to go. So let me go into the concerns and want to see what the panel thinks about this too. So my concern is we saw what happened when they brought Bethesda in. That's a massive acquisition, not even close to the size of what we have here. And this will link into the Bobby Kotick conversation as well. And we saw some of the missteps that happened when managing that integration. So, and one of those missteps would just heavily be Redfall. Now, I've just heard some of the most ridiculous takes around Redfall. So let me just preface this so that guys in the chat, you completely understand what I'm saying. So what I'm saying here is Redfall is not 110% Microsoft's fault. They didn't start out to develop that game. They didn't start developing that game whilst Bethesda was under Microsoft. The fault that Microsoft has is not just scrapping that game flat out. And that's a hard thing to do after you've spent millions on the game. And for the optics, it's just a tough decision. And obviously the way that they managed that game, they should have just left it as, in development for like another 2 years to get it to a point where it was releasable. Okay, so that aside, so I don't fully blame Microsoft at all for Redfall and some of those issues. And some of the management issues we've seen. There's also Forza with the marketing issues, how they've marketed it like this and you get this. So there is a lot of issues still happening at Microsoft. And then to take on a major publisher like ABK, I can foresee that there's going to be some bumps in the road. that are going to continue to add to Microsoft's mismanagement narrative. And from what we hear, and I'd like to play devil's advocate, from what we hear behind the scenes, they've taken steps to make sure that a Redfall doesn't happen again. But we are talking about just bringing in 30 studios. That is massive.
15,000 people. Like, yeah. They're gonna drop the ball somewhere.
Exactly.
I'm not down with the people who think that there won't be another Redfall. I laugh at that. There's going to be another Redfall eventually, guys. Like it's too many studios, it's too many people. Something's gonna slip through the cracks. It's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like it's a numbers game. Like you're not gonna nail it every single time. Remember too, guys, that they thought Redfall was gonna score higher. So they internally got that wrong. You know what I mean? So they themselves thought it was going to score higher, where the rest of the world was like, what the hell are you smoking? So I don't know. I kind of agree with you. It's one of the reasons, Riskit, I never wanted, when people talked about Ubisoft, I didn't want Microsoft to touch Ubisoft with the 10-foot pole because their overhead's ridiculous. You're talking over 20,000 employees. Like there's going to be people who lose their jobs and it's just too much. So I'm kind of with you. I think, there's going to be some fallout to this, and it's going to get, Microsoft will get some bad PR. There'll probably be some layoffs because there's going to be redundant positions. It's inevitable. Like, I don't know how you bring in 15,000 people without, getting rid of, a little chunk. I don't know how big that is going to be, but I think you can pretty much count on that happening.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say so,
just me.
Rhetri, but I also think that it'll take them a while to do that, to organize everything. I think that they'll allow them to self-manage for a while. Who do you think's going to take over from Bobby? Like, supposedly he's leaving.
Well, I want to get to that. I want to get to that. That's something I've got as a written down. I'll move into that, Pete. But I don't want to quite get to that yet. I just want to get everyone's sort of thoughts on, like, is this a smooth transition? Are we going to have problems? What do we see? How do you manage this? Are the management problems gone? Like, Pete, are the management problems gone? Do you think we're going to see issues? Like, or are we going to have another Redfall?
Yes. Yes, we are going to see issues. Whenever you integrate two massive companies like these two, there are going to be, there's going to be heads that clash. And look, I mean, Microsoft is known for not being able to manage their studios very well. I think, we saw it when Bethesda was acquired, with what happened with Redfall. Even Microsoft pushing back on Starfield, that game was not ready when Bethesda wanted to launch it. So unfortunately, I think is going to take, and I think they would have learnt a lot from the ZeniMax acquisition. So I think they're going to just slow their roll a little bit, take their time, integrate a little bit better, and not move ahead with anything too quickly before they're ready to. But yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some teething problems. Activision is a massive, massive company that's been under the leadership of Bobby Kotick forever. And so whenever there's somebody else in charge, they're going to need to, find out if their management positions and their structures are correct. I could see, like what Rhetri said, some overlap there. And I could see, hopefully we don't see too many layoffs. And I think Microsoft could find, places for these people, because the talent that is at acquisition, that's what's lacking in a lot of these companies. It's actually really good talent that's able to put out like really good games at a consistent pace, and I think Activision have proven that. So I hope they can keep most of it, not just because it'll give us more games, but I don't want anyone to lose their job, and it'll look bad if that actually happens. But yeah, I can see teething issues for sure.
It's nice that Kotick is out the door quickly, though, because he was contracted into April of next year. So the fact that they're talking like January 1st, see you later, guy, that actually surprised me. So good on them for if that actually happens. Yeah, I mean everybody wants him gone, right?
Yeah, I think they had to do that. The optics of Kotick still being there is just terrible.
It's too much.
They need a fresh start. But what do you think, Panda?
I think that if we're just looking at what's happened in the past around Bethesda and such, I think there is going to be some teething issues. I think they learned a lot around bringing on Bethesda and how that works. So I think they were putting plans in place ready for this, and they had a little bit extra time on that before the acquisition went through. So they even had some extra time to do that. I think for the most part, once they get rid of Bobby Kotick, it's just who's going to go in at the top of the head there. I think the fact that they've got the oh my god, what are they called? We were just talking about this earlier today. Union in there is going to put a
Yeah.
lot of minds at ease around the staff who are already working there, so they won't be expecting massive layouts. I think there might be some people leaving and all of that, but overall, I think they're just happy to get out from underneath Bobby. And I think that's a big thing of why it's happening in January and it's not happening any later. Microsoft wants to kind of really distance themselves and give Activision Blizzard a fresh start. And I think we all want to give them a fresh start. And I hope they do move to that 2-yearly cycle for COD. But yeah, I think we're still going to run into teething problems. And I feel like just with what's happened from Bethesda, they are going to be aware that there's going to be an Xbox tax on games going forward. People are just going to go, well, you now own it. If the game's good, they're going to be like, well, that game was in development before Microsoft got them. So it's not Microsoft's game. And if the game's crap, they're going to be like, oh, Microsoft's fault. And I'm just like, well, you win, you lose some, and there's no changing it. We as gamers are just going to benefit from this overall. I've got no money in Microsoft, got no money in Activision or Blizzard or anything like that. So it doesn't really matter to me around how well these companies are doing profitability wise or revenue or how the stakeholders are feeling. As long as I'm getting decent games that are finished and that the developers are happy to be working on those titles, whether that is through innovation, new IPs, or moving between companies, or just working with each other in a non-toxic environment, I'm going to be happy. I want to play games. I mean, there's so many already in Game Pass now that it's a bit hard to deal with at the moment anyway with everyone's backlog. But I do expect that it's not going to be as smooth sailing as we would like it to be. But I also don't think it's going to be as disruptive as potentially what Bethesda was around some of the transitions, because they learned so much from taking on such a big acquisition. It's even bigger, but I feel like they have better processes in place for it. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I would have thought so as well. I don't know how much they actually could have planned ahead on who was going to take over. You're not really allowed to do that until
They're a
you've
bond.
actually
No, I'm
acquired
kidding.
the company. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I don't know if she actually wants to do it because it really does look like she's next in charge when it comes, to actually being the head of Xbox. Now, I never want Phil
True.
Spencer to leave, but it definitely looks like they're, grooming her for that position. But, Holly, I would love to get your thoughts. Do you think there are going to be teething problems, with this acquisition?
Well, I think, we talked about this a little bit, Panda. There's Raven was the one that initially started the unionization, and it was because of, all of the issues that they were having at Activision, the corporate, right? And some of the bad business practices towards their employees, but they started that, before all of this really came through, because there was no guarantee that any of this was going to actually, be able to go through. So, they were protecting themselves, but remember, they were just bought by literally the friendliest employee-based company in the world, right? They were just voted the best place to work. So I'm not saying that, the unions will go away, but it may relax, or maybe they won't necessarily feel a need to continue the unionization across all of Activision, because I just think Microsoft has a better corporate environment for their employees and for the people that they work with. But I do think that, I know that there's some talk about Redfall and, the transition and Microsoft having a lack of management or things around that. And they definitely did. But remember that, I feel like Activision and Bethesda do completely different things, right? Bethesda's always working on new games, even if it's, a second or those, but Activision does more service-based games, right? And they do stuff with a lot of seasons. So I feel like Activision is sort of a well-oiled machine on the way it works itself. I don't expect a lot of that to go away. I think Activision under Microsoft is going to change. I think we're going to see a lot of stuff change. But it's not going to change in the next 3 months. It's not going to change in the next year. It's going to take years for Microsoft to create a defining vision on what they see ABK, all of ABK, play a role in the company and the things that they want from them, which is going to be significantly different, I think, than what ABK currently does. But it's going to take a long time to get to that.
Yeah, that's a great point. They're constantly making new CODs and expansions to World of Warcraft. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, what I want to see is them move away from that. I want Toys for Bob and all these other studios to be opened up, to be able to maybe work on something new. But Umbra, like, what do you think, brother? Is that what you want to see from Activision when the transition's done? Do you want to see, Toys for Bob making new games? Do you think it's going to take them a while to get there?
I think it'll take a bit of a while for them to get everything going. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, one of the things, Panda, you said is I actually said such on a past episode, which is them bringing WoW to console. I think that's one of the smartest things they have to do. I think it'll be one of the wisest choice to make, honestly. And I think if it was me, and maybe it's because I'm such a Witcher fan and I prefer, like I guess kind of third person action adventure RPGs more in that style. You have Blizzard. You have what's the word I'm looking for here? You have the WoW world. What do they call this? Warcraft, right? Yeah. You have that whole
Warcraft. Yeah.
You have Warcraft. You got so much you can do with that. That right there alone, that they can. I mean, they can make turn-based RPGs with it. They can bring WoW itself and have the classic WoW with the MMO. But if they did bring it to console, I wouldn't even have it as an MMO. I would turn it into, or they could have it could do it in the vein of Diablo. I actually said this before. I don't know if you all remember that, but I was like, they could do it in the style of Diablo. Have all your classes from the Allied. I forgot the names of the factions, but they could have it where you have either side of the faction that you could choose from and have all those available characters that you could use in the Diablo style WoW. That's just a spin-off version, but I think WoW itself should be brought over. As far as Toys for Bob and stuff like that, absolutely. Toys for Bob should be unleashed to toys. I mean, have them make I know a lot of people would love to see a Conquer come back. They would love to see a Banjo and Kazooie. Give them that chance. I think they should not be, again, relegated to just making Call of Duty games. I think that's a misstep, personally. As much as Call of Duty brings in, I guess that's more the gamer, me less the businessman, because clearly, it's making tons of money for them doing the way they're doing it. So, but I would love to get that if they do it biannually. I think it opens up the chance for them to work on something else beside just Call of Duty. So that's my biggest thing, personally. But much like you said, though, Pete, I said mobile will probably be the first thing they look at outside of what they're going to do with Call of Duty. I think they're just going to look at the biggest money makers.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, guys, I had to dip out. I had a bit of an issue there. So, yeah, please do hit the like button, like Drawn TJ said, and share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. I think that's changing soon if daylight savings comes in. And if you're in the east of Australia, it's 11 a.m. And in WA, it's 8 a.m. For our WA viewers, of which there's a few. There's a couple. I'm one. I watch me. Look, I wanted to jump to the Bobby Kotick because this surprised me. Completely surprised me, I have to say. I didn't think I would see Bobby out the door so quickly. And the reason why is because now, as much as I don't like Bobby, the way Bobby's
Love
sort
to
of.
hate him?
Yeah, I don't like the way he's sort of managed it, but then I also do. So the way he's treated some of the people there and some of the things that they've done has been egregious. Absolutely, 110%.
You can be a great businessman and still be a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can be both.
That's a good way to put it. He
You know
is
what I mean?
he is a piece of shit, absolutely, but he is an extremely shrewd businessman, and he knows how that business operates. So much so that when he was removed from the board or left the board, he is still on running that board. There is no doubt in my mind that the man runs the place. He may not be on the board, but the board does what he says. And I thought that to me, he's got so much knowledge of that business and how it runs. You have to understand that Bobby Kotick took this business from bankruptcy to what it is today, to a $69 billion business. And that is not to be underestimated. And I thought Xbox might keep him on to sort of manage that. Now, I know their ethos is very, very different. Bobby's a very different businessman from what I believe Phil is. For starters, Phil's not a piece of shit. So I guess that feeds into it. But Pete asked a really great question earlier on. She wanted to jump back and throw it out to the panel and ask, who is it that steps into this role? Does Sarah take over this business? What happens to Matt now? How do we restructure Xbox? So does Matt Booty run all these studios? That's just not possible. Does Sarah step in and take over? And do we get like another Matt under Sarah managing the studios? How does Xbox integrate this in such a way as it's successful? Because there is all chances that this is going to be extremely successful. For gamers, it's great. We're going to get all these games in Game Pass. If you're an Xbox gamer, this is a win, no doubt. But this is a very sort of crucial time for Xbox and how they manage this and who they get to manage it going into that new year. So Rhetri, I'll jump to you. Who do you think's best positioned to start looking after? Is it Matt? Is it Sarah?
No.
Is it Todd? Who takes over the leadership?
Probably Mikey Ybarra. Like, I don't know who else. Like, Sarah, I put up a poll for this, and I only put Sarah and I put Mikey up there. For Matt Booty, you could say, well, Jesus, like with Redfall and everything that happened, I think it's stretching. There needs to be, I've been saying this for years, there needs to be multiple Matt Booties, not just a Matt Booty. Like, I'm sure maybe there is, and maybe we just don't know their names, but I don't know who the hell they are. But I think we need several of these guys. There's just too many studios. There's too much to manage. So I think the obvious transition is to take the president of Blizzard and just step him into the CEO position. I know people were saying like Lulu. I don't see, like, Lulu's awesome. She's a badass. I don't see that happening. But for Sarah Bond, it would be a step backwards, in my opinion, because I think a lot of us agree she's probably being groomed for Phil's position. Yeah. So it would be like, why would you step into that? It would be almost like stepping backwards.
Well, I heard as well that John Ricatello's actually available. So it may be a good time to.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. We could start charging people for bullets in Halo. That would be cool.
Very true.
Man. Halo doesn't need any more harm done to it. It's just starting to recover.
Go ham, John. Go ham. Red Dead Panda.
Jim Ryan's available.
Oh my god. Even worse.
Hey, you're not wrong though.
Kojik's going over
He's
to
available.
PlayStation, right?
Listen,
Kojik's going over to PlayStation, right?
Yeah, we could take over Europe, just like he did, right?
Yeah, hey, you're not wrong there. Maybe they can get him.
So who do they pull in, Red?
Maybe Sean Layden.
Good point. Who would you? Okay, well, how about this? Who would you like to see run Activision Blizzard or that arm of Xbox now, or who do you think they're going to get in there? Mikey Ybarra is a good choice, I would say.
He's on. Is he over at Blizzard at the moment? Yeah, he is, right?
He is indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, they buy.
I want to see someone Phil-esque. That's all I'm going to say. Phil-esque, not Phil, but someone like that. Yeah. Because I feel like you need someone who understands the business side of things and also understands why they're there and the gamers side of things. Yes, it is a business at the end of the day and all of that. But I feel like for people to really get behind what Activision Blizzard is going to become after this acquisition. They need to see a friendly face that they can relate to, because a lot of gamers, I know for myself, I look at how PlayStation's run and who was in charge there, and puts me off. And I don't know if that's everyone's like that, but that's just how I am. I look at it and I just see like someone who doesn't care about how they got there. They only care about seeing you as a bank, a piggy bank, and that's all they care about. And I know that every business, Microsoft will see us like that as well. But at least to some point, they're still like, yes, we do see you this way, but there are some incentives if you come to our ecosystem. And I feel like Activision has lost touch with that a little bit. And that's what I want. I don't have any names for anyone specific. I would like to see someone new come out of nowhere and us all suddenly go, wow, we didn't even know this amazing person existed. Because I feel like just stagnating and moving the same people around, the actual whole industry needs new blood, and we need people to get out there and stop just looking at ways to bleed us dry. That's how I feel.
Yeah, look, I kind of feel like you're looking for a Phil. I think that is Mikey Ibarra personally, because he plays games. I think he's a personal guy. I think he's as close to Phil as someone who's high up who has a chance of getting it that there is. But I mean, Psychonauts just put one of my favorite answers, even though it's an old school guy, into the chat, and that was Peter Moore, and I was like, yes, even though it's going back. That's such a good answer. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
He would be amazing.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Mikey Ibarra is, wasn't he there during this whole debacle? Like,
not really.
That's
he kind of joined a little bit.
That's the only real
during
problem
it,
I have with it. Yeah,
but I think he joined a little bit during it, because it had already been going on by that point, I think.
I mean, but I don't think he was in. Even if he was there, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean he has anything to do with, like the sexual harassment and all that stuff. But
that's true.
You know what I mean?
If not Mike, I like Peter Moore. He's the only other name that I would put out there. But I just want to, throw a curveball in there and say, why not Bonnie Ross? Let's destroy Blizzard. Activision like to destroy Halo.
I'm like, is he serious? But no, he's not.
I think she destroyed Halo with apathy. She was just so apathetic and she just let it die. Sorry, Blue, jump in. Who do you think?
No, I was just gonna say, frankly, I don't feel like Blizzard's been doing all that well the last 5 years or so either. Like, look at Overwatch is a disaster. WoW has issues.
Yeah.
There's and Diablo. Look at what it's in a bad state.
Well, Diablo,
too.
to be fair, I mean, Diablo sold like gangbusters. I mean, it's so great. It's just the numbers.
It's dead already.
That's
the problem.
It's a live service game. It's you would,
and it's
yeah.
And they only come out every 10 years, right? So you needed
like
this
GTA.
game. So
That's true.
I don't know. And I mean, the wild card here that nobody's said, just simply from the fact that Microsoft has a very, very good relationship with him, is Rod Ferguson, right?
That's a great answer, actually.
That'd be,
you don't like that? I like that answer.
There, but I mean, I wouldn't be against it. But Rod would.
I'm not against that at all.
Yeah, because he's just over. He's just over Blizzard as far as the
he works with the
franchise.
Diablo team. Yeah,
Right.
he's the producer over there.
Yeah.
And
He reminds me of Aaron. He feels like a very personal, like just cool dude to hang out with. I like that answer a lot.
Look, his
relaxed, plays video games.
His management style is actually really, really good.
I love that idea.
He had an interview just after Diablo launched, where they call it Rod's psychology sessions. Where he basically has an open door policy. And what ended up happening, because the people could just come in and ask him questions about game development, what's happening and what do they want, and pitch ideas and all this sort of stuff. And what ended up happening is he started having video calls with hundreds of the employees at Blizzard just sitting in on him talking about like whatever development, whether questions they had. I think they talked about cartoons and movies and anime and gaming and that sort of management style where you have that open door policy and the lowliest developer to your game directors and studio heads can sit in and just, shoot the shit and talk about what would be cool as well in a game. Here's an idea. That is a fantastic management style. That's a small studio management style. But I think if you bring it to AAA, it can add value. You might end up with a banger new IP. And I like that idea. I think Rod's a good idea. Yeah.
I agree with that. You can get a lot of creativity out of him because of that.
Tim Sweeney from MPG.
No.
Right now,
doing really well over there.
Just right now, right? They need somebody they trust in that position to at least get through the transition, to get set up, to like have a full roadmap that everybody's behind, like get everything moving, which could take at least a year or two, like just to kind of get all those things in a row. And even if it's not a permanent position for him, because maybe he wouldn't necessarily want it for the long haul. I mean, I love Panda's idea. I would rather just see somebody else from outside,
some fresh blood.
But if it's not, I think I like Rod. I think
I'm not mad at that answer.
Fits that.
I like that answer better than my answer. So I'm going to team Rod.
I have a fantasy pick, and I'll give the realistic, what's likely going to happen pick. Fantasy pick, for one, I love Peter Moore. I love that idea. Psychonauts 100% agree with you. Rod, I love that idea too. That would be a great pick in my opinion. I don't know if he would be up for that specific task though. I don't know if that would be something he would want to do. He doesn't seem to kind of want that type of position.
Yeah, I think he wants to stay creative.
Exactly.
Be in the creative juices. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know if that would be his thing, but I love Rod. So all love for that. I would say Sean Layden. If not a Sean Layden, somebody, we joked about it, but you mentioned Jim Ryan. As much as we, gave him crap, he would absolutely do a great job of leading the Activision. Yeah, let's just be real.
Oh, God. He just gives me the willies.
I'm just going to be real.
Right,
I don't want him there, but I wouldn't be against it.
I'm removing him now. I'm removing him.
No, God, please, no.
You can't do this to me. You can't do this to me. No, but seriously, who I would get? I would say Sean Layden. Sean Layden hasn't been in something like this. Imagine the salt alone.
Exactly.
For taking a beloved Sean Layden and having him run Activision for Microsoft. Can you imagine? And on top of that, likely getting great creativity from him and all of that. Like, can you imagine that? We talk about Rod Ferguson and what he allows, but I think Sean Layden would lead to that. But I'll give you the realistic pick before we go to that. I'll just give you the realistic pick. I looked up their chart of the Activision Blizzard chart, and the actual guy under Bobby Kotick, who is the actual president, is Rob Kostic. That's Kostic.
Oh yeah.
He has been with them for 16 years, and under him, he has helped grow Call of Duty franchise to making more than 20 billion annual or globally, so total. So Rob Kostic is likely the person that's going to step up into play. Position.
Do you think that he'll go with Bobby? He's not holding him hostage.
Everybody, what to do in the chat is tomato time.
Yeah.
Look, I want to tell
you say my jokes are bad.
He was holding on to that one. He's like, I can't wait to say this. It's gonna be so funny.
He was. Where is that damn drum at? Anyway, there we go. There you go. Tomato time, chat. Give him tomatoes.
Sean Layden's a good pick, but not just because of what he did with PlayStation in the PlayStation 4 era, because it took him a little while to get off the ground with that, right? Anyone who puts tomatoes in the chat's getting kicked out. So. But he also, that man has some serious vision, and he has at every turn sort of seen where the industry is going. And I think he saw at the end of the PlayStation 4 era, when he actually got the boot, that he saw that what they were doing wasn't going to continue to work. And I believe that his wanting to pivot is part of the reason that Jim Ryan took over. And then just recently with what he said, and I am still putting together that video, it's going to take some time, in discussing AAA and the state of AAA and why, as Sean Layden said, that just it cannot continue the way that it's going. The Senate cannot hold. You can't keep having more cost of AAA games with the same profit or less profit and taking those bigger risks. So I think Sean Layden's a bit of a visionary. I think he would be a fantastic choice, but would he take the job? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Gets paid enough.
Yeah, I don't know if he would take it, but I don't see why he wouldn't take it. Like, what is he doing right now? I know he works somewhere, but I think that would be an upgrade. Let's just being real. I think it would be an upgrade to have to be running a a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Activision Blizzard. And he gets to have all these super creative things. Like, that's the biggest thing. They got all these super talented developers there. Absolutely, he can usher them in, I think, into making the greater new IP and everything else. They can be the, I guess, PlayStation North, if you will, in a way, with all the stuff he can help bring forth, I think, with them.
Yeah, but
I'm just being honest, I think he would be a smart pick.
He would be a very smart pick. Peter Moore as well. Peter Moore, and someone said in the chat that he's more of an underdog and he likes to go for the underdog. That's not always true at all. Like he's most of the time when he's moved into a company, they've been up and coming. They have been the challenger brand, but they've been up and coming and at a point where they really need to push hard. So, I mean, I guess you could call that underdog. But Xbox is the underdog. So asking him to come back to Xbox and any sort of that's him coming back to the underdog. That's I think Peter Moore would also.
I guess it's all how you look at it too.
Plus,
right?
Fuzzy saying that Tencent paying him big money. I agree. Tencent is definitely paying him some serious
But you think
cash.
that Microsoft can't match that and give him more? Of course they could.
Of course they can, but is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, I don't know. Like, I like that answer, actually. I think, and he's relatively still somewhat young, so he could put in probably a good 10 years into it if he was chosen. But
I was going to throw out, by the way, speaking of underdogs, I mean, the argument could be made: is Microsoft really an underdog? Like, we'll look at the Xbox division, sure, but is Microsoft an underdog? I wouldn't call them an underdog themselves. So you could argue, you might say, he likes the underdog, but does he? Because he was with Microsoft.
The truth is Microsoft is a fantastic place to work as well. You know, the benefits they offer for working for them is absolutely fantastic. And I could see Sean, I mean, I think Sean took the Tencent job purely for money. They're paying him a fortune. So I don't know how much his heart is in it. Like, you still see his posts when it refers to things like PlayStation and stuff. His heart is very much still there. So, yeah, I absolutely love that choice, Umbra. Really fantastic.
Yeah, I think Microsoft would probably be been a great place to work in the 90s as well. The benefits of, I mean, they used to offer cocaine and hookers, so that would have been pretty good as well. But
I was wondering where you're going with that.
Look, it's a terrible joke. My bad. You can throw tomatoes for that one. I do have to get to these super chats, and we do have to move on. But I have one more question for the panel and our guests around the ABK deal, because we do have a couple other things to cover that have happened this week. But I'll get to these super chats. Before I do, guys, please hit the like button. Welcome, Mr. Boom. Sorry I fell asleep last night, Boom. I was going to try to make it to the time, and I just could not. But I will hopefully jump into one of Mr. Boom's shows this week, hopefully, if he's gracious enough to invite me on.
Risk, before you read that, let me just say this one last part about Sean Layden, by the way. I looked it up to make sure. He's just a strategic advisor over there. It's not like he has the main position over there. So I'm telling you, if he took a position as CEO, he's going to make much more than that.
Yeah, true.
Sounds like a cushy gig, though, right? Advising. I'm advising. It's actually kind of what I do. My title, half of my title is advisor. I don't really do much. No, it's anyway. Enigmatic Dreams, the $2 super chat. He says Xbox buys Capcom, Tomb Raider, Crystal, and Eidos. Yeah, look, that's the dream, but it's never going to happen. Capcom's in too strong of a position to be bought right now. Tomb Raider IP with Crystal and Eidos, that is a distinct possibility. And now that this is closed, I hope they start looking very, very seriously towards Embracer. And I think if they make the push and come up with the deal, you got to remember, like, I think Crystal and Eidos Montreal were picked up for $300 million or close to that mark. You know, you start pushing to 500 million, you made 200 million profit right there. Like, that's, I think it's a no-brainer to go after those and take over the Tomb Raider IP that's being I think developed in conjunction with Amazon. Take over the IP, put Crystal into the Perfect Dark franchise in full, and then sort of amalgamate those two teams. I think they'd end up having their old studio head and founder back as well. Just makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. And I would love to see the Salt online for that one too. Doovie with the $4.99 super chat. He said, I knew Bobby was gone because he doesn't like to have a boss. Just look at how Vivendi had a major stake, but BK stayed as CEO of Activision Blizzard. I think he more than likes to have a boss. He is just really good at what he does. And then taking him out of that role is a bad sort of a bad business move. You know, as much of a piece of shit as the man is, he is good at what he does. So have we done that? Please hit the like button, subscribe, go live at 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're in the east of Australia, it's 11 a.m. If you're in the west, it's West Coast, Best Coast time, 8 a.m. It's a quick question for everyone. And I think we've covered this. But I do want to just ask this quick question, quick fire round. So we'll go Umbra, we'll work down. Actually, no, we'll go Blue, work up from the panel. All right, Blue, what's the IP that you want to see remade the most? First thing you want them to work on. Bring it back. What is it?
From Activision Blizzard?
Aye.
To be honest, I not much of a player of any of their games except for Call of Duty. But I've heard a lot of good stuff about StarCraft, and I love RTSs, so that would be mine.
That's your pick. Rhetri, what do we got?
Prototype, without a doubt. I want that superhero anti-hero game. It's for me. That's my number one.
Bro.
That's why I was glad he went from the bottom up, because I know that was your pick.
Red Dead.
I'm glad you did this to him.
Yep. You're welcome. Sorry, Peter.
Red Dead, what do we got?
Oh, wow. On console.
You want WoW on console? You want it as the RTS form, or you want the World of Warcraft?
I prefer RTS on PC, so I would just World of Warcraft. I would like a new RTS game though. That'd be great.
How good would it be if they brought back 1 and 2, and just remastered it, put it on console? That would be cool. Warcraft 1 and 2.
It would be amazing. But they're not going to do it.
I would be in that, my liege. JediKnightPete, we already know yours, but what is it?
From behind. Sorry.
Prototype, bro. Yeah, 100%. You know what I would love? I would love for them to refresh WoW. Go into that world somehow. Maybe make it more of an action adventure style game. I would absolutely love that.
Didn't I say that already? You just stole my idea. You know that, right?
It's still
That's fine. I agree. I love your idea, Peter, that you just came up with. That is really spot on. So good.
Yeah, almost as if you heard it before. I wonder. No. No, but I agree with that. That's one. But I'll go out of the box, or I'll step outside of the box. So all of those picks, I love you guys had thoughts on it. Of course, Pandas of yours, I agree with that. I think that should happen. Rhetri, absolutely, that you took before Peter can get to it. I think the ones that will make them the most money, and I think that would be the most interesting immediately, will be anything with StarCraft or Warcraft. Personally, if they do like really experiment with that, and not just give us RTSs, but something bankable. They got all these crazy Western RPG makers. They could do so much with that. But I'll go with StarCraft Ghost, game we never got, still has a fanfare behind it, cult base behind it. Give that to a proper team. I say the coalition, but whomever, and really deliver that super crazy visuals nowadays that we have that they're capable of doing and delivering now. I think StarCraft Ghost could be turned into the next major IP.
So mine is going to be Singularity. I think that there's a lot of talent in the studio that can handle an FPS well. I think it's got an interesting premise, good gameplay mechanics. I think that's probably one you could slip in, and it would. I mean, business-wise, I think it would do pretty well. I think it's still got a bit of following behind it. But all of those picks, I hope we see every single one of those, because they're all fantastic IPs. I'm sort of with you, Blue, though, as well. Like, Activision Blizzard has never been my favorite set of studios or publishing house. So, you know, there's many other publishers I would have preferred they bought, but now we are getting a lot of value in Game Pass. Begs a lot of questions. You know, is the value going to remain? They're going to raise the price at all? We won't get into that today because I'm sure that'll come up at some other point. What has come up during the week?
I think
Risk before you go.
They raised it already, bro. I just want to say that Boba had a great point. The Call of Duty collection, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that kind of goes to my point where I was talking about where they can kind of make a unified MCC style thing, but his is more of a remaster kind of remake thing, right? Yeah, if they remade them, absolutely, that would be dope. Remake the past ones and bring them to it. But I would say too, we talked about this on Booms. Tony Hawk, like that's another one
Yep.
they can kind of
Yeah,
get
that'd
the
be a good
MCC
one.
style, right?
That'd
Yeah,
be a really good one.
That
Yep.
would be easy cash grab too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
make it like a Tony Hawk. Maybe I think it was called Legacy. We all came up with in the name and the title in the chat. So Tony Hawk Legacy or something, or Rebirth or whatever, and you could put all the ones from 1 to 3 or whatever into it, the maps and stuff like that, different skaters, all the type of stuff, and make it modernized.
Then you could have Tony Hawk come out on
Guitar
like
Hero.
a wheelchair. He could like roll out there and just do some tricks.
Wheelchair variant.
Oh no. Wheelchair variant. Oh god.
Definitely, we did hold the line. We were one of the podcasts holding the line down. So yeah, shout out, salute to King Dave. I believe that was a cute perspective in the chat. So Sony dropped a new hardware. This went down like a lead fucking balloon.
Everybody,
This went
what happened to
down.
that pro? Everybody,
That's
It's not a
coming.
pro.
That's coming.
That's all I'll have to say.
It's coming.
Definitely not a pro.
This is not the pro. The pro is coming. Pete's knees are still on the table. It's all good. So look, Sony dropped new PS5 hardware. This is October 10th. This came down. Sort of the key things, I guess, to look at is it ain't that much slimmer than the fat one. I think it's in the realm of about 5 millimeters at the bottom to top. It's got a detachable disk drive.
What
Dick drive. Yeah, I like that. That
Really?
sounds like an
What?
Freudian slip.
Damn. I love it.
It's
Continue.
and then what do we pay? So I want guys. I know a lot of you guys in the chat. That you guys are from America. The stand that you can get to stand this thing up is $50 Australian for a
Oh, what?
stand. For a stand.
Holy, for a plastic piece of crap.
I was like, wow. And the stand ain't great. It ain't great. I was like, wow. So, I mean, look, Slim, I guess is it news? It wouldn't have been news to me because I don't really care about Slims. Like, I've never really upgraded to Slims unless there's been more of a power, like they've upgraded to a Pro. So if this is not for us, this is probably not for you guys in the chat that have got, maybe you have a PS5, Xbox Series X, whatever. But just and then the fact that if you buy the Slim without the disk drive, then buy the disk drive, it ends up being more expensive than the Slim with the disk drive. Who's making these decisions? Oh, wow. So I was quick jump around the panel. Umbra, thought you going to get a Slim? Plans?
No, not at all. I don't touch the one I have here, the PlayStation 5. It's just sitting there lonely and untouched. So no, I have no need for that. And that price that they set up for that is just stupid. I have, however, seen the visuals for it, and that thing is surprisingly smaller compared to the PS5 than the
Is it?
original. Yeah, I saw.
30% shorter. Yeah, it's shorter.
Yeah, it was actually surprised. The digital version, at least, it was very small comparatively. It'd be closer to the Series X, I think, in size, like height, and it's thinner than it is, though, of course. But it looks better, I think, profile wise, and the stand looks good on it too. However, for that price and all that, hell no. That's just you and Rob right there.
If you made a shit shiny, it's still shit. So I think it's you can't polish it to it. Pete, is this the thing that tips you over the edge? You're going to go out, you're going to buy a digital PS5 Slim. It's going to happen finally.
That's hilarious. The one thing I will say is when I did buy PlayStation games, they were always on disc, so I could always trade them in. So this was actually less likely for me to grab it, and this thing's a joke.
Holy
Dropping
shit.
the mic. That's always good.
Emotional, damn it.
Wow, Pete doesn't like it, I don't think. Panda, are you going to trade in? I don't think you've got a PS5, right? Are you going to trade in your PS5 for this PS shit? Slim? PS Slim. PS5 Slim.
I mean, they've given me less reasons to get it. I don't know. It's I don't even understand how they made it more ugly. I mean, how do you do that?
Damn.
And it's just not attractive. It's just not a great time. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I really do.
For the PlayStation gamers, you feel bad for them?
Yeah, that they somehow think that this is ideal.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just not impressed with it. I think it's crap that they are charging for the Slim model, the one that is without the disk drive. They're charging an extra $50 on top of, and this is just in US dollars, not New Zealand dollars, because it'll be even worse. So it's $50 more expensive than the original discless version or digital edition, and it's smaller. It will cost less to make. And then
And
why
you gotta
aren't they
buy the
putting this?
stand.
Yeah, you got to buy the stand on top of that. Like, why wouldn't you just put the stand in there? Like the price.
They did. They gave you the
justification-
horizontal one, which nobody effing used. Who the
Well,
hell?
I don't
Like
know.
that is
The
such a
horizontal
money
one,
grab
Take
thing.
it apart to put it on. It's so
Yeah.
But look, it doesn't even look like it has a proper horizontal stand for the way that the Slim of digital edition works. Like I've seen the stand on the disc version, but has anyone seen what the stand looks like for the horizontal stand on the digital edition?
The horror version.
I don't. Yeah, just the horizontal version, like the stand. I'm not sure about it, but like the fact that it's so narrow, the digital, they don't give you a stand. It could easily be knocked over. It's just a dick move by PlayStation. I feel not putting it in there. The fact that they're like, oh, we're going to charge you the same price, even the digital. I mean, the standard version with the disc drive already included on it. It's the same price, and people are trying to justify it, saying, oh, it's got increased storage. You know, the Series X digital edition is going to have 2 terabytes, right? It's going to be the same
Mhm.
price.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole terabyte more than what it had before, versus a couple of 100 gigabytes of additional storage. Not even a couple hundred, like less than 200 additional gigabytes of storage on the system. It's a joke. It's kind of like the PS Portal. Like, do a Slim and then just screw over your fan base at the same time. I'm not impressed. Yeah.
Blue.
And then let's not forget the fact that those deep earth colors they just came out with, the cosmic colors they came out with, and then these Spider-Man plates that are just coming out now don't fit the new models, right? So hopefully you didn't want to, use those and then get a new one. I don't know. I wouldn't mind 30%.
Because they're gonna make you pay for all the new ones because they already got those ready to go for the new versions. There's gonna be all kinds of plates for those, so they
those plates are bigger than a dinner plate. Like they're making people you could serve parties off of those things. You know what I mean? Like have like whole cheese boards.
They're encouraging people to upgrade their headset and their earbuds. They're encouraging people who have the digital edition to just buy a disc version because there's no disc attachment for the digital version of the original one that released at the beginning of the generation. Like Jim Ryan, whole we believe in generations. Maybe should we also believe in mid-generations and leave behind the people of the past? Like it's so out of touch and stupid.
You know, the thing I worry about though is that we all realize this and it's out of touch. I'm almost certain that our Hoove brothers are still going to support it.
They'll buy it. They'll buy it because they'll buy bricks. They'll buy anything that has the Sony name on it.
Portal, they'll literally buy anything.
So
I mean, they bought the HD camera.
Although they didn't really back up the VR, so we know how that's going. But it doesn't make any sense.
You bought a collector's item, so that it'll be in history museums later on. You can donate that to a museum in the future.
I'll sell it to a museum.
How to kill a platform holder. Excuse me. Look, for me, it's a definite, just confusing. It's like it's as confusing as the Portal. I'm not sure who's making these decisions.
If you hadn't bought a PlayStation yet,
not gamers.
If you hadn't bought one yet, it makes sense to get this one because I would like 30% of my living room back.
Well,
if you haven't bought one and you're trying to buy a new one, you know what I mean?
But it's still $60. Like if you add up the digital and you add up the disc and then you put the stand with it, it's $60 more than I bought it 3 years ago. My disc version.
Look,
it's $60 more. That's
if
crazy.
It was me,
If
it was me and I didn't have a PlayStation and I was gonna go buy a PlayStation, I would buy this one because it's not the gargantuan, ridiculous
I hear you.
behemoth that new one is, that the old one is.
Mother K. Asante would say.
They're still both ugly, but I would still buy the smaller one.
The smaller one is less ugly to me.
So I can hide it better.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I would hide it behind my Xbox Mini fridge. That'll hide it.
But would it?
Yep,
That's my question. Is it's no good for me because it won't.
Would it, though?
Probably doesn't have the weight to hold open my doors. So like I think the wind would just tip it over. So so no good for me. Got to move on to the next topic. Before I do, guys, please like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST Friday every Friday. Said that. And if you're in the east of Australia, it's 11 a.m. and in the west coast, best coast a.m. I do have a question. This is a bit nuts. So why did Shinji Mykami sort of recently, I don't know if you guys don't know who that is, he was the head of, come on brain, Tango Works Studios, the guys who did Hi-Fi Rush. He is the creator of Resident Evil. He did the
Evil Within.
Evil Within. So a fantastic, just one of the goats of the industry. And he posted a tweet earlier in the week that said, "Now I've broken the spell of non-competition myself, I guess I should get to work." This is crazy. Oh, non-competition on myself. This is a bit crazy. We were talking about this on topics, me and Pete, and what happened there? He obviously positioned the guy who's now running Tango Studios and trained him up, and there was something going on in the background there. But he sort of exited stage left when Microsoft took over. Something's going on here. He said he was retiring, right? That was the end of it. And we talked about this, Umbra, when he did leave, and we said as long as he doesn't end up at PlayStation, we don't care where he goes and wish him the best.
If he shows up over there, I'm going to be pissed for real, I promise.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't have said that. You jinxed it.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit disappointing to my mind because I think he could have done great things. Staying with Tango and giving us the next, I guess, Ghostwire or the next whatever it is that he wanted to hand on. Did this create some dissent? Did he leave because of Microsoft? Yeah, it'd be really disappointing to see him turn up PlayStation. It would probably create a little bit of Xbox salt, And look, if he does, great, because the PlayStation guys need a win, just even a little one. Infinite, what do you think? You think he's headed to PlayStation or he's going back to Capcom?
For me, I believe he's going to Capcom, and I'm going to say this one. I know you might not like it, Risk. What's his name? Kamiya is also floating that idea around of going to someone else. What if they both team back up at Capcom and make something crazy over there?
Are you talking about the Platinum guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also worked with Capcom. He made Beautiful
Go
Joe.
with.
He's got a
Go with
non-compete
Go to
he has to
PlayStation.
run out too.
Yeah, it's spot. So my thinking is they're both all of a sudden. Oh yeah, we're gonna make beat another company right now. So after the non-compete is over with, all of a sudden they want to make something else. Now Mykami is just weird for me because I thought he wanted to retire. All of a sudden, I got one more game in me. Then why not make it at Tango Gameworks, the company you started? That's confusing. So to me, that seems like he has ties to whomever he's doing it for to make one more game. And I would say it's Capcom. It just, to me, it makes the most logical sense to kind of make that one last thing at the, one of the greatest companies of all time as far as game makers go, creatively at least, in Capcom. I mean, and like Riz said, he's a legend from Resident Evil and everything else he's helped create. Why not end his career there, technically? And I can see, Kamiya being there too. To simply leave Platinum the way he did, to me, seemed really abrupt and out of nowhere. Both are just odd, timing-wise. It seems like they're both, to me, if I had to bet on anything, I would say Capcom would be the likely place they both line up at. Now, if they end up at PlayStation, I would be looking at Shinji like, come on, brother. Really? But we'll see.
Well, people online are trying to say like he had to get away from Microsoft, but I'm like, I think it's more around he had plans to do something like this independent outside of what he wanted to do as his last game, and that was maybe leaving there and moving into another location where someone else was going to be coming in.
He did. I will say this to your point, Umbra, as well. He has worked with Platinum Studios, Platinum Games before as well. So they have worked together. They have collaborated. So very interesting to see where this goes. So, Red, do you think that he's going to end up at PlayStation?
I'll be real pissed off if he does. I don't think so. I have a feeling he's not left and done this to go to PlayStation. I have a feeling sorry, I've talked up on my mic. I have a feeling he's gone off to do something slightly different. Like, it looks like he's going to work with the guy from Platinum and work on something. But no, I really don't think he's going to PlayStation. I don't think PlayStation's in any good position to have him go over there anyway. I feel like Capcom would be the best bet. Yeah, the history behind that, the fact it's third party, and that means his games can go everywhere, so there's no stifling of that side of things. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, maybe the control is what he's chasing. Rhetri, what do you think? Is that what's happening? He's just looking for more control over his game so he can place it everywhere, make it great, and walk out of the industry with a massive multi-plat as his last legacy game?
I mean, I heard about him wanting to do one more game a while ago. I feel like I heard about this before we even heard about his retirement, but maybe I'm mixing that up. I
think you're right. I think you're right.
He did.
I swear I heard this, right? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
So my thought is it's absolutely the last hurrah. Watching the last few games that's kind of been under him, they haven't done great, even though I think they're great games. You're talking like Evil Within. I think like his brainchild was like, Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush was maybe his thing. And you see, and to see a game like Hi-Fi Rush get all this praise, or Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo, which are good games, I think, but maybe not as much praise, might be a little defeating as well. So I think he probably wants to step away, have 100% creative control. I think he's going to Capcom. I definitely don't think he's going to Sony. I kind of agree with everybody else where he could be teaming up with the guy from Platinum Games. I could totally see that happening and kind of going. Maybe he's going to go back to his roots and do one last crazy like indie, AA horror type of game, which I'm fine with because like Panda said, if he's going third party, this doesn't mean that Xbox is going to lose out on this game necessarily. Maybe he's just going to want to give it to everyone who can possibly get it on all systems. So it's disappointing. Like him leaving Tango was definitely a punch to the gut because I was actually pushing for a long time for Tango Gameworks for Microsoft to expand out Tango and make them the epicenter for Japanese games, which could still happen. But I was hoping it was going to happen under him, but it is what it is. I think he's just doing one last hurrah and he wants creative control. So, good luck to him. Hopefully he pulls something cool off.
Absolutely.
Just to say, you're right about him not making Hi-Fi. That's correct. That was John Johannes that did that. So.
Yeah, Johannes was the brainchild behind that. So
yeah, but I think he was
like, and it's
he was obviously he's
overseeing it.
Yeah, he's studio head, and I'd say that there was a lot of mentoring that went on during that. Let me quickly address something in the chat. I
don't want to give him like zero credit for it.
Let me quickly address something in the chat, and then we'll move back to this conversation. So Joel Danielson, you don't know the meaning of the word monopoly, dude. And I wanted to explain to you. Hopefully, you learned something. So, what monopoly means in its truest definition is an organization or group that has complete control of something, especially an area of business, so that others have no share. You can't have it both ways, bud. You can't have PlayStation doubles Xbox in sales and then try to claim that Xbox or Microsoft has got a monopoly on gaming. It's just pure stupidity. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have any reason why you don't like it, except for these games are not coming to PlayStation. That's why you don't like it. So don't come up with stupid reasons.
But make sure to hit that thumbs up, though.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the engagement. Don't come up with stupid reasons as to why you don't like it. Just be honest and say, this sucks because it's not coming to the platform that I prefer to play on. And that's fine. I can accept that. There's no need to come up with stupid reasons or narrative as to why it's bad. It's not bad for gaming. It's not bad for gamers. It's great for gamers. It's bad for PlayStation gamers. And frankly, you can all suck it because you've been lording this shit over us for, I don't know, how long, how many generations we had to put up with your
forever,
your absolute bullshit.
20 plus.
And now it's turning around on you and you don't like it. Why don't you act like an adult instead of being a little child and go cry in a room somewhere where no one can see you, not publicly. Anyway, so now I want to get back
just get an Xbox, Joel.
Just get an
Just
Xbox.
get an Xbox. What's so hard?
Get a Series S. They're cheap. Get the little Spud.
Let's jump back to the topic. I'm sorry about the derailing of that. It just annoys me when people say it's a monopoly. It's not you don't know the fucking meaning of the word, clearly, because it's not it's not even close to being a monopoly. If it was a monopoly, they would have prosecuted it as a monopoly, and they would have won if it was, and they couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't do that, and that never happened. So stop with this stupid monopoly talk. Blue. Oh, hang on a minute. Here's the other one. There we go. It'll be a monopoly in the future. Well, fucking maybe. But then PlayStation can fight back. They could make some gas game. Oh, they already are. Blue, sorry to completely...
You know what, you'll be the first one to call them out if it was, mate, because you've been calling the no monopoly thing for a while now.
That's fair. I'll give you that too. Now, me, I want the monopoly. I'm greedy.
Me too. Gobble them all up. I don't give a shit.
Get them all. Catch them all like Pokemon.
Greedy gamers. Yeah, exactly.
We're just a tad bit underdrawn TJ in our greediness. Just a tad.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we got some similarities with our boy drawn TJ. That's fine. I don't care.
See, I'm not like that. Like, I don't want them to make any more publisher acquisitions, and I will be against that. If they do.
I do.
They go off after any more publishers, I will be completely against that, and we're probably going to have some.
So, like, if they go after Sega, you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm against. Yeah, absolutely.
You got a poo-poo on that?
Yeah.
All right, we can fight about that one later.
Absolutely, I'm against. I'm against any publishers at all. But developers, absolutely, gobble up some developers. Give them a little bit more money, build them. Publishers, no. Blue, sorry, coming back to you, Blue. We're talking about Shinji Mykami leaving. What do you think? Boba says, fight me in the chat. What do you think? You think the man's going to Capcom? Do you think he's just doing that he wants it to be a multi-plat for that last game? What's the reasoning? What happened?
I don't know. I don't know why he left Tango. I think he was great at Tango, and I agree with you. I like Tango a lot, and I was hoping that they would kind of become the epicenter, right, for Xbox over there, and now they're not, I guess, or just it's going to take a while to, really get that leadership moving better. But anyway, I don't know where he's going. Maybe he's putting feelers out that way and seeing what comes to him. But the platinum guy, I could care less. Like, Scalebound was ridiculous, and the man's policy on tweets only being in Japanese is ridiculous. So please go to Sony.
Especially when he tweets in English and then you respond in English.
Yes.
And he's like, cockroach. And you're like, what?
Be gone with you. Yes. swat, right? Nah. Like, clearly that guy's got some issues. So let Sony have him and figure it out. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll all work out. But
I think he'll fit in. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Nah.
Definitely. Look, we'll move on. There's a couple more topics I wanted to go through. Just quickly, you did hear me talk about it. I'm probably not.
Don't even ask me.
Oh,
Wow.
Pete. What do you think, Pete? I think he did speak on it though, didn't you? You jumped in and spoke on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the crazy thing is we actually spoke about this in the week, and I looked up a little bit, and I think he actually announced his retirement from there in 2019. So I know we spoke about that he might wanted to leave because Xbox acquired them, and that he didn't like. He has creative control, so it's really, really strange to me that he left, and I think it was a good fit there. But I was thinking about it more, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with Umbra. I think he might want to go back to Capcom, and I think how fitting would that be to go back to the place where it pretty much began and make Resident Evil again. I think that would be the perfect fit. I don't know if it's just hopium for me, but I think that might be the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that if that's what he wanted to finish up where he started. That would be fitting. So yeah, and I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. AJH said something about PC Master Race. Don't get me started. I'm on screen. Riskit doesn't like me talking about PC Master Race. I don't have a problem with PC, just the players. So as we were talking about earlier in the show, John Ricatello. My bad. I always mess up his name. Got fired. So I guess the thing around here is I'm really hoping, and I won't go to the panel on this because we are running up to time. I'm really hoping that this helps to save Unity, because we don't, again, a monopoly. We don't want UE5 having the no. We don't want UE5 having the monopoly.
That's a Red Wolf.
You know what's crazy, Risk? They might not even have it anymore. As much as I love UE5, it seems like they're digging their own grave lately with all these issues. Like, what's going on, y'all? As much as I'm going to bed and shield for you, like, what the hell? But
I think you need to do a moonwalk on that, Umbra. I started distancing myself from you and UE5. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna go on that hype train no more.
I don't know what's going on.
Swing in the wind.
What the hell is going on with UE?
Man.
But I was gonna say with Unity, we knew there had to be some type of drawback here with that the way they did that and with that bag. Yeah. So this doesn't surprise me that he's gone.
Oh, definitely. No. He's all about monetizing anything he can possibly monetize. The man specifically talked about monetizing bullets for Battlefield when he was over at EA. That was a conversation he had in an interview. He's not shy about telling you he wants to reach into your pocket. Like, he's telling you he's doing it whilst he's doing it. So I hope this saves Unity, but it does bring me to the next thing, which I was segueing into, which is, what the hell went on with Lords of the Fallen? Like, this is absolutely nuts. This is another example of developers prioritizing, and I can't blame them, but you can't treat Xbox like it's a second-class citizen. If you're creating a multi-plat game, you need to release that game when it's ready for every platform, and not if you're going to focus on PlayStation. Look, that's fine. I get it. You build your game for PlayStation, you port it over. And you build it out. That's fine. I completely get it. You want to hit that player base that PlayStation has, and it makes sense. But you can't. Developers need to stop releasing games that are broken on Xbox, and through no fault of the Xbox tech at all. Just because the developers need to get it out there, or the publishers want to push it out there, and we end up getting a second-rate version because their focus was PlayStation. This is.
The patch is live, Risk, by the way.
I've heard. Absolutely. I mean, I've heard, but why release it? Like, what? So you delayed it for an extra week to get the patch out, and then the optics.
Because we're the beta. Because we're the damn beta testers, man. This is a smaller studio too, so I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. How many games released now with the day one patch? I get the frustration because it always seems to be on the Xbox side. It is never the other way around. And I was looking forward to this game. I've only jumped into it a little bit, so I can't say much on it. But it doesn't look as good as they made it out to look. I will say that straight off the bat, but the combat is there. I think it flows. I think there's a really good game there. The story they told in the opening cutscene seems really, really cool. So I can't wait to jump into it and play more. This is definitely my jam.
Just a quick disclaimer here. Pete is a soul shill, and so the views and of Pete do not represent the views of Xbox Infinite. And please do clip that. And we'll bring that up in a couple of shows once we've completed the game. I've heard middling. I've heard it's an okay game and something to build on for a sequel. I believe Skill Up's review, which was Austin,
better than the last game, though.
Yeah, much better than the last game. Yeah, he said it's good. Said it's good, and there's a lot of missed opportunities.
Atlas Fallen? Did they do that too, or was that somebody else?
No, that's someone else.
Oh, you're talking about the Last Lords? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this Lords has apparently had a lot of missed opportunities with you've got that lamp mechanic where you can go into a separate world, the Umbra world, which is the Evil Dead world. So I'm just putting that out. It's called Umbra. I don't know if he was listening. I
was muted. I'm like, you know what?
But there's a lot of missed opportunities apparently with that. So that's a little bit disappointing because I was hoping that mechanic was going to be used. And from what I've sort of read, listened to, seen, it's not used in a clever way. It's used to do the occasional puzzle, which is disappointing because that looked cool. Combat's okay. But just the broken patch. Has anyone had a chance to step in besides Pete? I've got it downloaded. And I do game share, but I thought my game share wasn't working, so I was gonna buy it, but I didn't, and I was gonna anyway. Whatever. Yeah. So now that I've got it, I don't know if I'll play it until they fully patched it. It's just disappointing. Anyone else played it?
I haven't had a chance to play it.
No.
Yet. I was thinking of just delaying getting it before because seeing those performance issues, and that guy Nico posted a gameplay clip, and that thing was moving like 10 frames per second, stuttering. It looks trash. Now he did come back and report 2 hours later that after they released that patch, like Pete pointed out, that it was moving much better. So maybe that fixed it. You know, maybe that could have done it. I don't know. But I also feel like, it's crazy that this Xbox is kind of, as always, this kind of little, you know, oh, we'll get to you later thing, you know, because they're optimizing for PlayStation and PC. Like, we'll last on their eyes.
Bullshit,
their eyes.
actually.
Yeah. Also, too, it's like, do I need to get this right away? Because I still haven't even touched Liza P.
Is this $70? Does anyone know? Is this a full price?
Full price, yeah, it is.
Okay, all right.
Full price at that.
Might be good to wait for a sale on this one.
Patches, yeah. I'm thinking I'll wait. That's my thinking.
Yeah. I'm definitely a little bit tired of AAA publishers releasing broken. I think it's sort of a result of what we're seeing in the industry with, you know, the high cost of game development, and then the low, I wouldn't say low uptick, but, you know, them not really increasing their profits for these types of games. You know, you don't want to spend any more in development whilst you're not making money. But I think this hurts again. I don't understand why AAA developers, I can't think of a reason that works that's good enough to release a broken game. I don't think there's any excuse ever at any point.
Is this AAA though? I thought this was a AA studio. I thought Hexworks was like 50 people.
Well,
Isn't it a small? I thought it was a small studio.
I don't think it's 50. Am I wrong? It's not 50 people. It's definitely not 50 people. There's no way 50 people. Man.
It's definitely a AA game, but and they have to put their focus where their focus lies. And I commend them for they've basically copied From Software's. Yeah, but what they did from the first Lords of the Fallen, which felt clunky and slow and heavy, to what they've done for this, I hope they succeed because I don't know. I want more games like this.
I'm kind of with Pete. Like, I was looking forward to this. This was high on my list. As someone who's kind of just getting into Souls games, so I'm going to definitely buy this, but I don't know if I want to kind of support. I have a thing about like giving somebody $70 that I know is a AA studio that I know came out broken. Even though, look, as a company, if you're talking business, as much as we hate it, if I'm a developer, I am fixing it for PlayStation first. That's sorry if that bugs you.
It makes sense.
I just am. It just makes sense.
Get it for PC. And by the way, it's like $45
or get it
PC under these keys.
Oh, then you know what? I'm probably gonna get it on PC.
Yeah. I don't think Rhetri, it is a full price game, bro. I paid $100 Australia, which I think is your equivalent to $60 in America. So it's not a $70 game.
It's a $70 game here.
It's 70.
Yeah. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeesh. Maybe shouldn't be.
Has it for PC for $45, so maybe PC is the way to go.
Gonna be going PC. I just got a 4070. I just upgraded, so I think
nice.
Screw the Xbox. But it's sad to see, though, right?
To your point, to see that
happen.
It's a AA studio, but like you're charging me AAA prices, so don't charge me AAA prices.
That I 100%. That's why I asked what the price was, because that's when it becomes a much bigger problem. Like, you can't charge me 50, then I'll forgive you a little bit more. But if you're charging me the same as Forza Motorsport and it comes out broken, that's a problem. If it's running at 15 frames like that, that's an issue. I'm sorry.
Right. So
and which I'm not gonna. I'll either get it on PC or get it on sale because I don't want to, give them the full amount of money and say, hey, this is okay to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to support that sort of.
And I guess it feeds into the cyberpunk thing, right? Because I will not buy cyberpunk.
Same reason. That's why I waited on cyberpunk.
Well, I won't.
Same reason.
Good though.
It may be good, but they released an absolutely broken game. They released it in an egregious way. They blocked. So there was no console footage allowed. Their embargoes leading up to the release of the game were obvious, and I guess everyone trusted that studio. So no one some people saw it coming, but not many saw it coming. And then to have a redemption, we keep allowing these games to redeem themselves over time, and then it seems it's all forgotten. It's all good, and they've sold 12 million copies. That's
Yeah.
why. I mean,
Well, 8 million of those came from pre-orders. People got to stop doing the pre-order stuff and stop giving your
13
trust
million.
automatically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 13 million came from pre-orders. And look, I mean, the whole Baldur's Gate 3 thing, I think, just elevated this whole topic. I mean, developers saying that you shouldn't expect this. Why shouldn't we expect it? Why shouldn't we expect a fully fledged out game at release? We have
Agreed.
let them
Yeah.
get away from this
I
for
agree.
way too long now. And now I think they're just like flaunting it. And I mean, how do you stop people from pre-ordering games? Now,
You
look,
don't.
I was guilty of it with Lords of the Fallen. I typically never do it. Like I'm a massive Dark Souls fan, and I watched a lot on this. I watched people that I trust, Fextra Life, Legacy Gaming. When it comes to those
Right.
type of games, like they're my go-tos, and so what they said definitely got me on board to buy it.
You know, what perks did you get from pre-ordering it though? Like, what did you get for it?
Just a couple of skins, I think, bro. Nothing special, man. I could have bought the deluxe edition, which actually came with an extra class that you could start with at the start.
Oh, nice.
I wasn't too fussed because I didn't want to get that. Like, it's $20 for nothing if you ask me. I'm going to start as a condemned, like I always do. I'll be naked, and I think I start with a bucket. That's perfect.
Oh my God, you're one of those
Pete-
crazy
Pete-
motherfuckers.
Pete
Okay.
prefers to start out naked in any game he plays.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Elden Ring, he's got the pot on his head. He just rolls around in his underwear.
The
I don't-
greatest thing in Elden Ring was me, Riskit, and Boba all starting the game, all running around naked. It was beautiful.
I don't think it's got anything to do with the difficulty of the game why he does that. I think he does that just purely to see
Yeah,
naked
Just
hair running
that's
across.
his kink. That's his
Look at my
kink.
package.
But I would say Risk definitely, man, especially now that they've released this crazy patch and update with the DLC for the expansion for Cyberpunk. You should really give that a chance. I know how you feel, man, but I just don't think it's a game anybody should miss out on. But
Yeah.
I agree with
loved
I
it.
agree with you, Umbra. Like I got it years later because I didn't want to support the BS, but
Mhm.
that's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
It's so good. I haven't got the DLC yet, but I love
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
I've heard,
Yeah, I'm
I've heard
definitely-
nothing but good things.
Definitely don't support it. I definitely do not support it. I will not buy that game. I will not play that game. You release a game in that state and do the things that they did is not good enough. And it wasn't an accidental whoops. We found some bugs after we released
No,
it.
you're
it
right.
it's not malicious.
It was definitely shady. You're not wrong.
Extremely shady.
they
And
knew.
I just
They
want to.
absolutely knew.
I mean,
you know?
it means nothing my money because they've had 12 million sales, right? But
Yeah.
in the end of the
True.
day, I guess
Principle.
that brings us to our next topic. Before we jump into the next topic and final topic, please hit the like button, share us out. Go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. This is what I wanted to talk about. Leads into exactly what we're saying. Redfall and Blue. I'm going to jump to you on this because I know you played a fair bit of it. I played a little bit of it. I'm hoping that most of the panels played a little bit of it. Thoughts after patch? I guess I'm just chasing your thoughts after patch. And does it deserve a second chance? I don't see this as any different to Cyberpunk. I don't feel like it should. They should waste their time on this game. Where are you at with it?
I jumped into Redfall this week again, and it's smooth. It looks really nice. Just felt a lot better, and Pete and Monad and I played, and it was a good time. And actually, I think Panda, we have a date to play a little more
Yeah, we do.
Redfall. Although we're
playing
all
it right
Jacobs,
now.
so that's a problem. Don't ever get that.
Fucking Panda.
But I think it's fun. I don't know. I liked it. Is it a high quality $70 must get experience? No. Cyberpunk is, and I will not hear otherwise. But Redfall in Game Pass, absolutely, it's worth a shot. Everybody should just try it out.
But
Listen,
should we keep
it may be
allowing
now.
this?
No, we
Well,
shouldn't. But I mean,
and to be fair to Microsoft a bit, this was a game that was pushed by Bethesda corporate before they were owned by Microsoft. Right.
And changed directions. It sounds like
I think
multiple times on what the
Microsoft
game was
had-
supposed to be.
had the
Mhm.
responsibility to deliver on what they thought they were going to be delivering on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
can
like,
Well, remember
Colt
I
said-
mentioned when we mentioned earlier they thought the score was higher, so even they were somehow fooled, which is very hard to
know
believe.
how the hell they came to that
I
conclusion.
don't, Umbra, I don't either. And I put in 48 hours into this game, and I mean, I enjoyed it, but we were laughing at how effing bad and how
I
many
watched some of your
just
playthroughs
bugs
of
there
it.
were.
Yeah.
I mean, we were making fun of it, having a good time. If you get the right, people playing with you, it's fun. But yeah, this should have never seen the light of day. It just shouldn't have.
Colt said
as much fun as we did.
Redfall should have been delayed to Halloween, and he's absolutely right. Like the tone of the game for Halloween, and now that it's where it should have been at a minimum, right? It is a good timing now.
But let me get back to
a little bit of Redfall, bro. And I thought we enjoyed it, didn't we? Played it with KJ, J-Rock, even played a little bit with Colt. And I did enjoy the game. There's no doubt that it was broken and buggy and a mess, but I still enjoyed it. Now, we jumped into it recently with Monad and Holly, and I think it's a lot better. And I'd actually like to get through the game. Now, the story's still terrible, all that kind of stuff, but the moment-to-moment gameplay feels tight, feels solid, looks beautiful, and look, guys, it's on Game Pass, so it's a simple download away. Try it out for yourself and, see what you think.
I do like that they added more enemies, because the world, when I played it, did feel a little empty. So the fact that they added a lot more encounters, I think was a definite huge thing for me. I haven't gone back and played it because I put so much time into it. And it's kind of like, is it too little too late? And I think for a lot of people with Redfall, it is. But I think a lot of people, if they're playing it for the first time, are going to be actually surprised at how much they might actually enjoy an experience that got just dragged through the mud online. I don't even think this game deserved the score it got, to be perfectly honest with you.
It deserved it.
Yep.
It deserved it.
I'll say it.
I don't know about that.
I don't think it. I think it was a little low for my personal opinion. But
what was this overall score back? I can't remember.
I am in the minority here, and I know it.
Didn't it get like a 4 or something like that from a few people?
What the hell is it at now? Well, it's probably not changed much, right?
It'll be in the 60s, but
yeah, it should be in the 60s.
If it's in the 60s, I think that's exactly what it deserves.
No, it's in the 50s now. It's in the 50s.
Oh, it deserves that. Yeah,
maybe a little lower.
It
56.
No.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. That's a broken ass game, if you ask me. I mean, it was kind of broken, but
I thought it was the 60s. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
It's like half broken. Whatever.
Look, it's that score. That's the 50s and the 5s and the 4s. That's reserved for broken games. It was broken when it launched. Like if I played through, booted up and played through live for Game on Cancer. Great cause, by the way, you guys should head over to their website and donate. But I could not help myself. I was just pissing myself laughing at everything that was going on with that game. It was just absolutely broken. There was no enemies to fight. I ran for 10 minutes before I even found anyone. Things didn't work as they should. Textures didn't pop in. It was just an absolute mess. It deserved the 56. Should it be allowed to come back? Do you want them wasting their time on this?
It's already bad.
Well, we knew they would because they promised. That's the difference between Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo, and everybody else. When Microsoft says they're going to fix it, they have to because of Game Pass. They have to because that is not leaving Game Pass ever. Right? So they have to at least get it up to par to at least get it playable. You know what I'm saying? And then move the hell on, because we know they're moving on to new games. Yeah, which is where it's at right now. Time to move on.
Fix it, but the problem is, I want this studio to make Prey, to make Dishonored. They're the games
that's
I
where
love.
I think they're going, dude.
Back to the games they want to make.
How often are we talking about new IPs and how no one takes chances anymore, and they took a chance.
Right. I agree.
So I kind of want it to succeed just for that.
Yeah. I get you. I agree with you on that. My thing is for me, I am going to give it another chance. I'm not sure who's down to play it with me, but yeah, I definitely do want to try it out and see how it plays now. But originally, I thought the 6 out of 10, I thought that was more than fair. I thought that's exactly what it deserved. And much like you, Risk, I had the same issues, running around 10 plus minutes, not finding anybody. The lack of actual cutscenes and stories, giving us slideshows, just come on, it's unforgivable for me. in a story based kind of game like this. Risk, that guy beat the hell out of you. I just saw that. You know, things like that for me is what hurt it really bad. But I am glad that
I was being shot from afar by a
Mm-hmm.
well, he shanked you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It was a cheap shot. It was a cheap shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, rest in peace. But yeah, you know, those issues like that, the gunplay was okay. I didn't mind the gunplay. And like Pete said, there is fun to be had in it, even pre-patch. Like there was fun to be had if you're playing with your friends and such.
With the group.
Yeah, exactly.
Not solo though. Not so much.
Not for me. Not for me. I couldn't do it solo. So I can understand you playing with your friends, Rhetri, and I watched you. So you know I was there. So I could see that being fun. And there is fun to be had at that. But now that it has a quality mode, it's like, man, I just wish that Microsoft would have just waited and said, hey, let's just delay this, you know, because it's just no coming back from that. And my question before, if you remember, Risk, I said, and people got on me and mad about it on Twitter. I said, is it too little too late? And I feel like overall it's going to be too little too late, just because not the fact that they can't fix it, but the fact that people are going to move on, because we have a short attention spans here. We got so many good games to play. Are we going to sit around and wait for a 60 game meta game or 50, whatever it is now, to improve a bit? I don't think we are. You know,
this is not going to be a Sea of Thieves. This is not going to be like a gas game. This is not going to have a resurgence because it's the content.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving on. We already know they're moving on. So like you're not going to see a resurgence of content. So there can't be a resurgence of players. There's going to be the people who come back to play it for the 60 FPS, maybe to get some extra characters. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably done after that. You know what I mean?
Agree.
We saw, what did it tick up? It went up like, what, 20, 30 players on, you know what I mean?
No.
Like
is that all it is?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, there were people making fun of it. Like, oh, it upticked. It went up to like 50 people live, and I was like,
kudos
crap,
to the 50
bad.
who gave it another shot.
Right, exactly.
You know.
You're the real heroes.
You're the real MVP. But like most people are just going to move on. It's not even a fault of them doing what they did at that point. It's just that now there's so many other games for us to play. We have so little time. You're not going to waste it on something that like, okay, you feel like it improved maybe to a 6.5 or a 7. I just don't think people are going to waste the time on it when they have so many other quality games to play.
But now that it's fixed, it'll be one of those games where it's like it's a throwaway game. What else am I going to play? All new people coming into Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did the right thing by fixing it and allowing people to have options for those who didn't give it a go. I didn't give it a go when it launched. I refused to play it at 60. It's a shooting game. It needs to be at 60 minimum.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it. It's not groundbreaking in any ways. There are lots of improvements that could still happen in that space, but I'm glad that they put the time and effort, and I do think now they've done that, they can move on. I don't think it needs any DLC. I feel like this was draw away from what they're used to making, and it didn't feel like it had the love and soul of Arcane games have had in the past, and so I want them to go back to their roots and just make a game that they are passionate about and not be pigeonholed into delivering something that they obviously aren't used to making. Now, they would have gained some experience in this space, so if they want to do something like this in the future around more like co-op-y style games, that's fine. But, stick to your bread and butter. It's kind of like what PlayStation was forcing... oh my god, why can't I think of their name? The Last of Us factions, Naughty Dog, into making that a full-on gas game. That's not how they got here. That's not what they're used to making. They don't necessarily have the dev team in there, the support staff, anything like that. They're used to focusing on graphics and the story-driven side of things. So yeah, it's just, you could definitely see that this wasn't their best foot forward. Yeah.
It's definitely not in their DNA, but I want to push back on that just slightly, only because I want Xbox to not be PlayStation and do all gas games and be safe. I like them taking chances with studio. Look, we got Hi-Fi Rush. You know what I mean? We got Hi-Fi Rush because we watched a studio do something that was very different. And in my opinion, that's their best game they've ever done. You know what I mean? And then you have a
Hi-Fi Rush.
studio
Yeah.
like Playground who's stepping out of racing and doing a completely different genre, which I trust them. You know what I mean to pull it off. But I kind of like that to a point. And it seems like you know what I mean? Like them, because of what happened with Redfall, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like we're watching them get scared. And I think, although I love Prey and Dishonored better, I think they're going to go back to those. It sounds like they're going right back to that same formula because of Redfall.
I hope they took something away from Redfall and bring that into it and what they learned from developing a game like that and what they heard back from the community. I hope that means that the next title is an evolution of everything that they've kind of learned up until this point.
But when you created, to your point, Richie, when you create a new IP, you need to take care with the IP.
I agree with you. I mean, there was no care in Redfall.
Yeah. And from everything we saw and what we heard afterwards and what we heard about developers leaving because it wasn't their the type of game they wanted to develop, there was no care taken with that new IP. And that wasn't under Microsoft. You could say all that, and we've had all that conversation. But
no oversight either, though.
It's also it's a sort of a symptom of the AAA space at the minute, is that if they do a new IP, they don't seem to take a lot of care with it. And if you look at, say, for instance, EA's most recent one, Immortals of Avium, there was care taken with that game. It was a good game, or is a good game, won't get played because of the, so to release a new IP, all care has to be taken with it. Like, you need to properly invest in that game to make it the best it can be. So, yeah, I don't sort of subscribe to there's a lot of pushback from the Xbox community on how it wasn't their fault or why it wasn't. It's completely their fault. Like, not Microsoft's fault. It's completely the studio's fault. And I mean, I guess if there's ever any AAA studios or AA or indie studios listening, take care with your new IP. It's important. They're important. We do have to.
That's a great point, Riskit. You don't have to do that so much with other games that already have a name, but with an IP, it's so incredibly important that you hit straight away. Yep. I mean, how many people are going to give this game another
automatically
chance?
kill that franchise. Does anyone think we're getting a part 2? Because I don't. It's dead.
I agree.
And it didn't have to be.
Unfortunately, and I think it could have been a really good game.
It could have been.
I think they had something.
The bones were
there.
there. Like, there was something there. It just,
didn't have the passion.
It is what it is.
Because we heard it from behind the scenes, they didn't want to make that game. So that's what you get when you get that.
Yeah, Pete.
I was just going to say that, I mean, it shows that there was no passion with it when you see the way they told the story, just in cartoon format. I thought that was really, really disappointing. And I had nothing to pull me through the game. Although the moment gameplay was fun and jumping in with friends was fun, there was nothing pulling me through to get me to that next point. And I think that was the most disappointing thing for me.
Yeah,
and that's how I am. Obviously, you've heard me talk about that before. Like, I don't like just aimlessly running around killing. I like to know why. I have a motivation to do something, and they failed there. It's the same issue I had with Halo Infinite. Like, I love the story. Don't get me wrong, the campaign, but you're supposed to show, not tell. Don't tell me anything. I want to see these cutscenes, and we have a crazy good history of that with Halo. For instance, I know I don't want to veer off too much, but Halo has been known for great storytelling with their cutscenes, even 4-headed. So how did 343 revert? I don't know. But that's the fault of also Redfall. They showed us in little slides, and nobody's going to. You can't get jiggy with that.
I hated that. Oh my god, it was so bad. That story sucked. I barely remember it. It just wasn't good.
It's uninteresting. Yeah, it made it completely. You were completely uninterested in it.
Took you right out of it. Yeah,
it did. And then the character. I'll say this too. Even the character designs looked kind of crazy. Super gigantic hands and feet. It just looked odd. It looked odd.
Yeah.
Over exaggerated. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
what you said, Umbra.
Yeah, we've bashed the shit out of Redfall many times. My point is just take care of the IP, and if you don't take care of the IP and you release it in this state, let it go, and don't expect us to support it as gamers, because no one should support that. And again, no one should support Cyberpunk because trash.
Stop.
We've got a couple of super chats that I want to get to real quickly. Red Wolf with $10 super chat. He says, Riskit, do you think that Xbox could then be if when they could take and change enough to take the enough when take then change and you are a piece of shit.
Shout out to Red Wolf. I love him.
He's like, I'm really curious. Yeah. What a piece of that.
I was waiting for you to read that out.
Is no one going to answer his question?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is
Are you
gold.
not entertained?
That is gold, yeah.
Good
And
for
thanks
you.
to the $10 super chat. And Red Wolf knows how hard it is to read these. Like sometimes when people mess up their words. So that was brilliant. AJH has got a question. And if you type question in the chat, I will absolutely answer it. If you form it as a question, and I think it's a question, I'll ask it. I said, AJH said, I'm a big fan of Starfield and I loved and finished it. But can we all admit it isn't winning Game of the Year, especially with Baldur's Gate 3? Nominated, sure, it deserves that, but winning, no. Yeah, I can agree with that. Anyone else got an issue with that?
I don't even know if I'm going to push back so hard. I don't even think it'll be dominated.
Yeah, Pete?
I love the Hogwarts. Yeah. Go ahead, Pete.
I think Hogwarts is going to win now. The passion behind that game was just evident.
God, I love
they
that
were
game.
Absolute lovers
They're
of
so
that
damn good.
universe,
Mhm.
and
Hogwarts
it
Legacy.
showed
Loved
in everything
Hogwarts
that they
so
did.
much.
I
It
think
was a great game.
I still think Hogwarts is going to get blacklisted. I just think that I'm sorry. I think the whole PC thing. Oh, how dare the creator? She's a turf. They're going to use it against it. I'm telling you. But
Yeah, and they
even
tried
beyond
that, and the sales went through the roof. But
it
I mean,
sure did.
that's-
But
yeah.
see, that's us. But when it comes to the
Right.
people who are going to kowtow to that,
Yeah, tell me something not to do so I can absolutely go do it.
And see, but what I will say though, even if that is the case, you have the juggernauts of Zelda and BG3.
Zelda will take it.
I think it's between Zelda and BG3 at the end of the day.
I agree.
It's between those two.
100%.
BG3.
Yeah, but I'll say this too. I love Starfield. I almost 400 hours into that game now, and so I'm like you, AJH. Loved it. However, I came down to an 8.5. Risk, I think you had about the same score as me, didn't you?
8.5. Yep.
Yeah, great game.
Ooh, you came down, Umbra, since the last time I
down.
talked to you.
Yeah, I was at a 9 at first, but I came down. Overall, there were some issues that I couldn't let go. I couldn't just be like, nah, it's still a 9. I couldn't do it. Still had crazy enjoyment. It was still, though, flawed where it deserved to get an 8.5. So I don't think it'll get Game of the Year.
Everyone says, Umbra.
Yeah.
The game is amazing. Everyone that played it has
love it.
hundreds of hours in it.
Yep.
But it definitely has its flaws.
Yeah. I feel
It
that
sucks, like, it's
modernized in some ways it could be better.
Yeah.
Too.
I agree with the modernization. Like, obviously, I mean, what can you do? It's the largest game like ever, but it's my personal Game of the Year. But I don't even think it's going to get nominated. I really don't. I think it's going to get snubbed.
They better
I don't
not
think it'll
snub.
get.
They better not.
I don't even.
snub
I don't even. I'll take that bet. I don't even think it's going to be in the nominations for Game of the Year. For art direction,
Mine's still Jedi
definitely.
Survivor.
I
Music,
would be
yes.
upset. I would be upset if they snub it for Game of the Year. I think it should at least be nominated.
I mean, I agree. I just have a feeling, with
I got a
Zelda,
feeling.
The problem with this
BG3,
year
Jedi
is
Survivor,
5 different
Hogwarts.
games.
Whew.
Yeah,
It's been
5
a
tough year,
games
man.
could have won Game of the Year. Hogwarts, Jedi Survivor, Diablo, BG3, Starfield, Spider-Man. On any other year, either of these games could have won,
Right.
and therein lies the problem.
I agree. Yep. It's too stacked.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if Starfield doesn't end up with some sort of a nomination, if Game of the Year nomination, then I think that's a bit of an injustice. But
I agree.
I also won't be surprised if it doesn't. So we'll see how that pans out, and I'm sure there'll be salt in the community if it doesn't. Rebel for the 99-cent super chat says nothing, like he did with the last one, which was a $10 super chat. But
He drooled on it. I think he's drooling. So
look, we got to wrap it up.
Also got the poll risk, because that is really interesting.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that poll sitting up there just doing its thing. Let's see what I can't remember what I wrote.
Like,
It's not a
150 votes.
landslide.
61 votes.
Oh, it's not popping up.
Hey, credit to the chat.
So has
Credit to
Xbox
the chat.
solved the
Yep.
management issues? 161 votes. So shout out to everyone. Yes, 63%. Xbox has solved their management issues. No, 36%. They haven't.
Okay, so
36% actually know what they're talking
Do we got to
about.
confess?
The
Do we
rest
got to
of
confess
the
where we
rest of bots.
voted?
I'm going to confess.
I
I'm going to
voted-
confess that I
I
read
voted
wrong.
no.
Yeah.
I read it wrong. I voted yes, but I didn't read that right. I thought it said, does Xbox
Well,
have a
you
management issue? I mean,
the whole poll, Umbra.
So all right, Umbra, I guess you're with me then.
Yeah, they haven't managed.
They have one right now.
They still need to get some things in order. I think that's just if you're being real, you realize they're not all the way there yet. But yeah. I mean, they're improving, but I think they got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see what happens, but I don't think that they have nailed all the problems yet. And I think you've just added like how many employees? 16.
You just added
16,000 more.
15,000 plus.
15,000 more problems. So we'll see.
You know, Riskit, you should bookmark this question to ask again in a year because that'll be
good point.
That'll be the interesting time to dig.
Yeah, because that's gonna hopefully flip.
Biggie Butter says Redfall is a 36%.
Ooh, damn.
Look, moving on
to Xbox credit though, like I guess we could say that, but then you also look at the crazy lineup of games we got coming for Xbox too. So maybe they got it right. Maybe they're getting it right, and we're not being fair enough to them.
So what was it? 68% said yes, or 63? I lost the poll. 63%.
63
said yes. No, they're all good, and then 36% said
no,
it's not right. 38
said no.
36% said no. 63% said yes, bro.
Cool. All right, I'll ask that question in a year. I've actually got it written down. We'll see what happens. But look, we do have to wrap the show because it's gone on a lot longer than normal. And we hate to do that. Don't like to push these 3-hour shows because then that just makes for a really boring show. Any shows that do that, it's not a good thing. Obviously no offense to those guys. No particular shows that we're calling out. Not aiming that at anyone.
Right.
It's just a general statement. Red Dead Panda, fantastic to have you on the show. Thanks for coming back through. It's been a long time, and I know it's a bit of a hard ask to do a back-to-back show because if you don't know, Panda's show, The Gamers Initiative, was on just before. So that's 5 hours of talking, just talking. So really appreciate you coming through. Thanks for giving us
You've met me, right? I love to talk.
You do. Let the people know where they can find you, what you're looking forward to, what's going on for you in the next few weeks.
You can find me on Twitter, Red Dead Panda, and then the number 1. You can find me on Xbox, Red Dead Panda 871, and then on the Gamers Initiative podcast over on Elite Gaming Guru's channel, and watch this space because Rhetri and I are working on something.
That's right.
So we're gonna storm the world. But as you could tell, I have a cool new icon. Isn't it awesome?
Yeah,
I like it.
So awesome.
I decided to theme it with Mass Effect as much as I could because I love Mass Effect.
I see.
Yeah, I've now just taken the world by storm.
Looks like little female rocket raccoon a little bit. Yeah,
basically, but way cooler because it's got a Kiwi
Way
accent. Yeah, way cooler.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's a Kiwi accent.
Yeah.
Oh, sweetie,
that's where I'm at.
Absolutely, and you can you'll be able to find her down in the description after the show. I've sort of running a little bit behind on stuff this week, and it's a crazy week for me, so I didn't get that all done. But I will. Rhetri, fantastic to have you on the show for the first time. Thank you for coming through, letting us know your thoughts on the ABK deal. So that people know where they can find you, what you're looking forward to, and how's your week looking?
You guys can find me Game Pass _daily on the Twitter, X, whatever the hell we're calling it this week, and Game Pass Daily on YouTube, where I shill for Game Pass because it's the best. And of course, every Sunday I'm on the Gamers Council with Web Dave. This week we got Hargi and Everborn are joining us, and we're gonna be throwing all kinds of salt in ponies' faces and eyes. So it's gonna be a fun show. I can't wait to do that one. But thanks for having me, guys. It was awesome. Chat was lively as usual. Great being here. Great podcasting with Panda. We'll be doing that soon. We'll let you guys know the details of that.
Oh, what's going on there?
Hopefully, we're still working on everything.
What's going on there?
Well, we're doing a little show.
More to say show shortly.
We don't want to reveal everything just yet.
Oh shit!
We're gonna.
You gonna reveal everything?
It's
Well,
I'm gonna
you
go
can't say that around
Peter
here.
Night. We're gonna go around in our undies and
It's gonna be the
That's
best
not every-
PlayStation showcase ever.
It's gonna be
What's
it's gonna be a
this- what's this
PlayStation show.
underwear?
Spoiler alert.
What's this
Yeah.
Sorry. I had to throw that one in there. Maybe it was 2 meatballs. Infinite Umbra, another fantastic week. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, how your show's going, and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah, so we didn't have a show this week. You know, I had like a family issue, so I couldn't do that. But we will return
Missed it,
next
mate.
week. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys
We
can hear
missed
me,
your
right?
show, brother.
Oh,
Yeah, we
yeah.
got you.
All right. Okay, I didn't hear the compliment Pete paid. Thank you, Pete. Finally, you're admitting the truth, because usually Pete tears me down. So it's good to hear the truth. Riskit could learn a thing
I'll
or
wait,
two from
I'll wait to do that in COD, bro.
you.
I was glad it wasn't on.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But of course, you all can find me on Twitter X under Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. This week, of course, we're going to be playing some Halo. So J-Rock is getting the squad together with a few other people. As you all, sounds like you all right over there, Blue? You good? My girl, Blue.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Listen.
COD is king.
Yeah. So, COD is all right, but Halo is Halo.
Mhm.
So we'll
Yeah.
be playing some Halo. You all, look us up on Twitter X and see what's going on if you want to jump in over the weekend. And I am going to be playing some more like Party Animals, some Forza, running people off the
Yeah, good
road as
game.
I do.
Mhm.
And I'm going to play a bit of the beta with these guys here too, and try to get better, get good. I
Well,
guess.
you know
Good.
now that COD's a first party game that we can
Mhm.
just
True.
Yep.
we can say
Embrace it.
yeah, we can say about Halo.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Welcome home.
We can let it go.
Welcome home, Activision.
That's right.
We can let Halo go. Pete,
I won't let it go though.
another fantastic week.
Jack.
Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you're playing, et cetera, et cetera.
At Twitter, everywhere on socials at JediKnightPeter. Panda, what the hell? We got through the entire show and we didn't talk about Season 5 Halo. I think that we should just talk about it now and go
Okay,
for
season
another.
Yeah.
5 of Halo. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
All right, I'll see you guys later. It's been real.
Let's go, Blue.
I'll be
Let's go play
playing
some COD.
way,
Right.
way too much this week. I got COD Beta, I've got Assassin's Creed Mirage, I've got Lords of the Fallen, I've got Redfall, I've got Forza. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get through it. I just wanted to say the chat was amazing today. Rhetri, Panda actually offered to join yesterday because we didn't have a guest, and just shows how great she is. And I cannot wait for you guys to do your show. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So good luck.
We did have a guest, I just forgot. But it's
Yeah, right. And
You're
he-
not supposed to say
he,
that.
he
You
remembered
said the loud parts
exactly
off,
when we were
myself
going
part loud.
live. Right. But I forgot to congratulate you guys too and wish you well wishes on that too. So sorry about that. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
of course.
You've
we know we
been-
talked
I know
You've
you,
had
I know you
things
secretly
on.
want
You've
us to
had
fail,
things
Umbra. It's
on.
fine. I get it. It's fine.
No, you two
Okay.
of you are two of my favorite people. Absolutely. I want you to succeed.
I know.
oh,
Hear that,
thanks,
Riskit?
Umbra. I appreciate that.
Hear that?
Yeah.
Hear that?
In your face,
You didn't even
Riskit.
make the
Pete-
list.
Favorite.
Pete, he doesn't.
Yeah, not
He
even in the
doesn't
top
say that to
5.
us very often, does he, Pete? So it's good to hear.
I know, huh? I know, huh? Yeah.
We appreciate
It
it.
was heartwarming.
Thank you, Umbra. Yeah, thank
Love you too, Umbra. Love you too.
Blue, another fantastic week. Thank you again for joining us permanently. It's been amazing having you here, and continuing to have you here. And let people know where they can find you and what you're up to and what stuffs and things are making happies for you.
That was a sentence.
Making
Me do
happy,
English
so I'm
good.
stealing that. Exactly.
You can find me on all platforms as that blue number, and then my Twitter is just ridiculous, like Panda pointed out to me earlier today. It's HLYBRI. But I am going to live in COD this weekend, and I don't know, maybe play some Redfall too if I can get this squad actually together. This time zone thing is
Tough.
A pain
like
in the butt.
the Aussies
Yeah.
say, doing my head in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doing you in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Such an honorary Aussie. I love it.
doing my head in, man. Yeah, I mean, it is a bit
so
of
many things.
It is a bit tough. There's a lot to play. And then obviously with people working and time zones and trying to fit everyone in, it is.
And
absolutely.
trying to get them out of Halo on time when I'm playing. And I'm like, I don't want Halo. Don't play Halo. What are you doing?
We're going to drag you into Halo with us this weekend.
And then I'll get mad in 10 minutes. And then you'll be like, why aren't you talking? You'll be like, I fucking hate Halo.
She absolutely got quiet the last time. You did. Yeah, you did. She sure did.
Absolutely. Well, look, it's been an absolutely fantastic week. But there has been one thing, and I did want to say it at the end of the show, that's caught my attention. That's got nothing to do with gaming, and I did want to say this. First of all, Umbra, was really sorry to hear about your auntie, and my heart goes out to you. It's always tough losing a family member. So yeah, I wanted to say that. And also, I wanted to say this, if you guys are still here with us in the chat, and thank you for you guys sticking around. Something cracked off over in the Middle East this week with Israel and the Palestinians. And I wanted to say this because I said a couple of things about this on Twitter. I don't normally get involved in political stuff, but this one sort of hit me because there's a lot of children dying on both sides. And I do not support that. I do not support a government that would bomb children. I do not support a terrorist group that would kidnap and kill children. I don't support either. My heart goes out to every single one of those parents that's still around, and that is affected, and any families that are affected over there. And I really do hope, I don't see it happening, but I really do hope we can find a peaceful resolution to that. And I do not take sides on this one. I do have opinions, but just the indiscriminate killing of children just needs to stop. That needs to be a thing. So hearts go out to them. I just wanted to say that. And we'll see you guys all next week for an awesome week of gaming. We're going to have some stuff dropping Game Pass this week, I'm sure. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll see you all next week.